950 The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome on in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the air, Rochester's only local sports talk show. Happy you're with us to start your weekend. Thanks for listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. We've even got our stream up and rolling on our Twitch channel and our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. I'm Mike Danger. Over there, that's Gene Battaglia.
I am doing something tomorrow that I haven't done since the year 1994, which will be 31 years.
Shower?
Close. Go to a Buffalo Bills game.
Come on.
And not in the press box.
All right, so this is a family affair.
It's just my son and I are gonna go and just I want to just kind of spend time with him, and this is a good way to do it. And I don't think there's anything pending here for the Fan Rochester. You're gonna need me in the locker room asking questions. So
No, good. Enjoy, man. So it's been 31 years since you've been able to go to a Bills game and not quote-unquote work the Bills game?
Yeah. It was the opener against the Jets in 94, and Kelly was still the quarterback, and the Bills got killed. It was weird. Yeah, the Jets came in. They rolled them that day.
Wow.
Opening day, yeah. So tomorrow, beautiful day. Gets a little hot in that stadium, though, on during the day.
Oh, you're going to roast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would go M&T Club if possible.
I think that's the play.
That's the play.
Yeah.
You might run into some of the neighborhood Goombas there. Some of them I know are planning on making a trip to Orchard Park as well. So yeah, if you see anybody that looks extra Italian, know that they're probably from East Tilton, my neighborhood.
Well, we got to stick around to the fourth quarter, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
You got to cheer on our guy. You got to cheer on the. Hey. Don't worry about Jameis Winston. You don't have to worry about Russell Wilson. You got Tommy DeVito because he's Italian. It's going to be fun, Gino. I'm happy for you.
Who's the new linebacker the Bills picked up, too? Charlo.
Hey, Charlo. He's going to make some tackles. Andreessen's nice, but Charlo will be all right. He's going to make some tackles, maybe get a chicken parm sandwich at halftime, go out there because he's Italian. He's Italian, Gino. What's the high tomorrow, 85?
85.
Cool. Going to feel close to 100 in that stadium.
Yes. Do we make it through the fourth quarter? Am I staying there for Tommy DeVito time? I think so. I have to. I got to try.
Yeah. Feel it out. Your son, I think, is probably a good sport. He'll want to stick around. If I went with my daughters, I know they'd be bored. They'd be like, okay, when can we go? When is it time to go? This is the preseason. We don't know who these guys are. This game doesn't matter anyways. When can we go?
But do you remember, when you were a kid, it didn't matter if it was preseason, whatever. I never wanted to leave. I never went
to a preseason game when I was a kid.
Okay.
It was always regular season stuff. And whether it was baseball or I was always, because I grew up in a real small town. So going to visit my family in Chicago, my eyes would always get wide. And so you could imagine, how much delight I got out of being at a thing like Soldier Field or the Metrodome to watch the Twins or to go to a Vikings game at the Metrodome against the Bears. Yeah. Whatever it was, my eyes always just got wide. That was exhilarating for me because I was just used to small town life in northern Minnesota where there wasn't a lot of population and there wasn't a lot to do and there wasn't that kind of excitement, that kind of energy. It's infectious. It really moved me. So I would never want to leave any of that stuff. I never went to a preseason game, but if I did, I probably would never want to leave. I would never want to leave.
I think you and I and most people we talk to, John Shellen not playing tomorrow, good. Good. If somebody is upset about this. I've yet to meet that person.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And if we don't see him this preseason, I think we'll all be okay with that too. Especially when you see last night's preseason game. We are going into Colts Ravens like, oh, good. This is the Anthony Richardson Daniel Jones battle that we wanted to see kind of unfold here in the preseason. See if Anthony Richardson has anything going on. And, of course, he lasts like 5 plays before he gets drilled and dislocates his finger. This is Anthony Richardson on that injury.
How's the hand feeling, and what have they kind of told you about what's going on?
Dislocated finger. It's all right.
It looked like you knew pretty much right away that something was not right.
Yeah, no, it was weird. He hit me, and then I was trying to make sure I had the ball, and I just looked down, and I see my finger different direction. I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. And I looked at it again, and it was definitely like that. So it's like I got to get this thing popped back in place, but I'm good, though.
How does it feel? Is it hurt? Is it swollen?
I mean, it's a little swollen, but it'll be all right. It's just tender right now. It'll be a little bit more sore in the morning, but I'll be good.
Anthony Richardson reportedly going to be able to start throwing a football around again tomorrow at practice.
He'll be fine, but it's one of those cautionary tales, and maybe this also brings home the point that what do we think of the Colts here, Danger? What if neither one of these? And then I also kind of mix in like, hey, you have a new person in charge there. Old man Irsay is no longer with us. It's one of the $3, Carly Irsay Gordon. And one thing we know about her is that she literally wears a headset.
Yeah.
A coach's headset.
She listens in. She can't say anything. She can't communicate, but she can listen.
So kind of a clue there. She might be a micromanager. And if things aren't going well, what could happen? What could possibly go wrong here?
Well, I'll tell you this. Just based on the play that he got banged up on, Anthony Richardson needs to be better. Anthony Richardson has not mastered some of the easier elements of playing quarterback. Looking at coverages, recognizing a blitz, knowing where his check down is. He wasn't even looking the right direction when he got popped. He had an open an open running back in the flat. You got to throw into that blitz and get the ball out of your hands. He held on to it too long, and of course he gets crushed. and that if that's the way he's going to play, he's not going to play very long in the NFL. He will get destroyed. And everybody that I've seen that breaks down film that looked at that play specifically said Richardson needs to be better. This is elementary quarterbacking in the NFL. You need to be better. You can't make those kind of mistakes. It'll cost you your career.
This didn't happen in a game, but if you had to pick competitors for the Buffalo Bills in the AFC, not named Kansas City or Baltimore, the Chargers are on that short list, right? And the Chargers just 12 days ago made Rashawn Slater the highest paid offensive lineman, 4 years, $114 million. 92 of that guaranteed, the highest by average annual salary for an offensive lineman in NFL history. It's a torn patellar tendon. He is out for the year.
That's a blow.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers, I'd be more hyped about the Chargers going into this season than I know a lot of people are about the Broncos. I know a lot of people are high on the Broncos. Oh, the Broncos. The Broncos are the team that's going to beat Kansas City. They're going to take over the West. I'm like, I don't know if I buy into that hype just yet, Gino. I'd buy more into the Chargers. I'd buy more into Harbaugh and what he's building there than Peyton and what he's doing with the Broncos. What if Bo Nix is nothing more than Mac Jones?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. The comparisons are there. The similarities are there. Mac Jones, remember, made it year one to the playoffs with the Patriots before he was kind of exposed for what he is, kind of just like Bo Nix. The Broncos and Jones's Patriots each got clobbered by the Bills in the first round of the playoffs when they made it into the playoffs. And last year, Bo Nix and his Broncos won 10 games. But how did they do against AFC playoff teams last year? They lost to the Steelers week 2. Week 6 was a loss to the Chargers. The Ravens in week 9, that was a game that they lost. The Chiefs in week 10, another L. The Chargers again, week 16, another loss. Even the Bengals, who weren't a playoff team last season, that was a playoff level type game, week 17. Broncos lost. Then facing the Bills in the opening round of the playoffs, we remember 31-17. I'm not buying the hype on Denver.
They did beat Kansas City at home, though.
They got one win
Yep.
against Kansas
Yep.
City. They split against Kansas City.
And ultimately, that's where I think you measure is Kansas City going to take a step back? And if so, can Denver kind of go up? Coincidentally or not. So USA Today, and again, a lot of this is clickbait. A lot of this is just kind of standard fare for this time of year. But they put out their 2025 projections for wins and losses. Bills at 13-4, which would not be the 1 seed. That'd be only good for the 2 seed. They have the Ravens at 14-3. Okay, fair enough. Particularly if the Ravens get the first game, that's going to be an uphill battle for the Bills in terms of a 1 seed. But they do have winning the AFC West danger, 12-5. The Denver Broncos. Kansas City at 11-6. The Chargers at 9-8. Huh. Well, they're not buying into that, which is kind of odd. And then, of course, today, don't I hear from Binkley, because the Chiefs are a playoff team, but they're not ahead of Denver. Everybody is doubting them. What's new? Ha, ha, ha. So many receipts. 17 playoff wins from Mahomes. Only thing that matters. Okay, like, is that disrespectful?
Here's the thing, man. I'm not going to tell you that the Chiefs have fallen off until I can see it with my eyes. And their performance in the Super Bowl against the Eagles is not enough. It's not a large enough sample size for me to say there's something wrong with the Chiefs. No, I won't do it. I can't do it. Now, that Slater injury, that sucks for the Chargers.
That's terrible.
That's a big loss. That's going to hurt them and their chances. I'm not buying into the Broncos hype. And until I see it with my own eyes, the demise of Kansas City is overblown, in my opinion.
Here's the thing with Kansas City. They have the best defensive coordinator in football. Name me somebody that's better than Steve Spagnuolo. He knew when the game was on the line what Josh Allen's tendency is in pressure situations, roll the right, overload blitz, ball game. Perfect call at the perfect time. And there's a Hall of Famer on the defensive line. You have 2 excellent corners. You have enough on that defense danger that with Mahomes, they will blindly win 10, 11 games.
I think so. I think
then after that, well, how many more can they grab?
I think that the Chiefs, that the downfall of the Chiefs is being way overblown. So I'm not going to disrespect the Chiefs, Binkley. I'm not here saying that the Chiefs should be keeping receipts. They're a good football team. At worst, they're the 3rd best team in the AFC. At worst. So, and listen, that game last night between the Ravens and the Colts, and we didn't get to see the starters for the Ravens, but boy, the Ravens sound a lot like the Bills. There's a lot there. There's a lot of similarities there. They don't like the way the last season ended. There's a lot of talent on that roster. They're fired up. They're ready to start week one. They're going to come in week 1 with their heads on fire, looking to avenge what happened last year. They're not happy about that. So the Bills need to be ready to match that physicality. There's a big part of me that's kind of like, okay, good. I'm glad that they're able to heal up these injuries, do the rehab, do whatever you have to do to make sure that you can match that level of physicality and intensity week 1 that the Ravens are going to bring into Orchard Park. They're just going to bring it. If last year's week 1 game against the Chiefs is any indicator, the Bills have to be ready to get punched in the mouth and deliver similar like blows in the direction of Baltimore, because they're going to be tough. Right now, that's the challenge I see for the Bills, more so than the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah, it's the Ravens.
And this continues to kind of make the rounds. One of the websites that I think it's a reliable critique when it comes to news and media and information is Awful Announcing. Started off as a blog, but it's kind of turned into this news-ish sort of place. Here's the headline danger, and you can figure out what the rest of the article is going to talk about. Has Hard Knocks lost its juice? Hard Knocks lost the spark once that made it must-watch TV, or can the Bills' compelling personalities reignite the show's magic? This article just goes on to trash the opening episode.
Here's where I've been with Hard Knocks, and I'll speak candidly. I have to watch Hard Knocks because it's my job. So I'm watching Hard Knocks this year because we talk about the Bills as much as we talk about. I couldn't come in here and try to pretend that I knew what happened on Hard Knocks if I hadn't watched Hard Knocks.
Same. I Full disclosure, the last time I watched Hard Knocks for a season, I had to think of what was the team. Okay, it was Matt Ryan in Atlanta, and then I look it up. Oh, my gosh, that was 2014. And if we're just being honest with ourselves, you see the meme, you see the quote, you see the, hey, this is dysfunction, and we eat that little bit up, yum, 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 yum.
It rolls up in your feed.
Yeah.
You feel caught up. You see what you need to see.
Exactly. And even for you, the Bears were the team last year. You didn't watch last year.
I didn't watch last year.
Why?
Didn't watch it. It wasn't. I should have been, as a fan, I should have been more interested in it, right? But it's not really the thing that gets me going. It's not something that it doesn't provide a spark or a charge. I get excited to watch this season because it's in Rochester and it's the team that we talk about. And so because we're provincial, because we're close to it, we're all going to talk highly of it. And we have been talking highly about it. Where everybody else is kind of where we were last year. It's like, ugh, when was the last time I watched Hard Knocks? I don't know. It's just another show. It's more content. I'll add it to the list.
There's nothing for to critique about it. Like if you are a critic and you're going to talk about, oh, this is something I learned from that. Okay, the Bills are a likable team, and the sun is out in Pittsburgh. What?
I would just say it's propaganda. It's NFL propaganda. If you were outside of Rochester or Buffalo and you didn't have a rooting interest with the Bills, wouldn't you just watch that and be like, this is nothing more than an infomercial for the National Football League? It's propaganda. It's meant to make you feel good about the team that it's showcasing, and that's exactly that's the only way the Bills would have said, yeah, we want to do this. They're not going to give you anything of substance. They're not going to give any secrets away. It's going to be, this makes you feel good. It's candy.
And there's going to be only one episode left where we're going to have Rochester.
Yeah,
that's
episode 2.
Episode 2.
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's getting – I feel like we've heard this story before. It feels like annually we hear Hard Knocks has lost something off the fastball. Hard Knocks hasn't been good. I mean, you had the drama. I think more than anything, societally, we want the drama. We want the dysfunction. We want the negativity, the anger that comes with an Antonio Brown or a Hugh Jackson or the bombastic personality of a Rex Ryan when he was with the Jets. Those are the things that I think attract eyeballs, unfortunately.
Dude, look no further than your 6 o'clock news on 13, 10, or 8 tonight. Okay, they'll lead with the weather. It'll be right at the top, and then it'll be this bad story, that bad. They want viewers. This is what we as viewers want, the negativity. And this is who we are, I guess. I was just kind of surprised, and I shouldn't have been, but now nationally this wasn't well received.
Well, I'm going to take a page out of your book. I'm going to try and corral the family tonight or tomorrow night and say, let's all watch Hard Knocks. Because I think for where we live and for what that camp means to our community, I think it's must-see TV.
I will say this, and you feel the same way that I do. You and I don't care if we make it on or not. My family does.
Yeah.
My friends do, but I'm just telling you, there's some media members that, okay, we want to be on here, but we're not. We're not that show. I don't care.
I don't care. I look at it like this. When I found out that it takes them 300 hours of footage to come up with 1 hour of programming,
that's not a good ratio.
No,
there.
The
Yeah.
likelihood that you and I end up on the cutting room floor is extraordinarily high. I think we're probably ending up on the cutting room floor. I'll be pleasantly surprised if any of the part with us and Andreessen ends up in episode 2. And episode 2 is it. If it's not in episode 2, Gino and I will not be in Hard Knocks. If there's a chance, it's that Andreessen clip. And I like where your head is at. We talked to him about his old man.
Yeah, so if I'm editing Hard Knocks, there are two things. One, hey, if you want to set the stage of when did he become of age, it's your question laying out the Steelers, but while you're giving the question, you're running the B-roll of him making plays against the Steelers, and then he gives his answer. or if they're going to go the family angle. And I didn't ask the question about the family. I just asked who motivates you.
Who pushes you?
I'm thinking, hey, who pushes you? Like TB. And he gets around to that eventually, Terrell Bernard or your position coach. And like, didn't ask about the family. That's great. He brought up his dad. And now I'm thinking, okay.
Now, if you're directing Hard Knocks, you have an angle. You could dive deeper and look deeper into his past, into his history. Tell me about your dad. What did your dad do?
Right. And now, and on the sidelines, there's his family up watching. So.
Yeah, that's the only shot that you and I have of making Hard Knocks. And I'm like you. If it happens, I'll be pleasantly surprised. If it doesn't happen, 300 hours of footage to make 1 hour of programming. Yeah, it was never really a sure thing anyways.
Well, is it recency bias or the camp we're coming off had the most juice ever?
It felt different. It felt the vibes were good. There were good vibes everywhere. Amazing vibes. Immaculate vibes everywhere you looked.
Even with the cuck stuff going on.
Yes.
I think the prevailing thing is, all right, you're going to be out there sooner or later. Danger for everybody else just kind of looked up and said, what was that look? Like maybe, maybe not? What do you think?
No, I think he will be out there sooner or later. I think I still don't understand the strategy of the hold-in after you've been practicing. But like the thing that will be interesting to me about tomorrow's game is the Ray Davis usage. How much will they use Ray Davis? I wouldn't use him at all.
No.
I would say, why? I get it. It's his second year. You want to give him some reps. But, man, if anything happens to that cat, your leverage over James Cook just took a hit. And now you have to consider actually paying him what he wants.
I'm not using Ray Davis. I'm not using Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
Evans and Gore Jr.
Yep. Darrington Evans show tomorrow. But I know we're going to see Ray Davis. I know we're going to see, some of him, or at least early in the game. But the Cook thing is still baffling to me. Nobody gave us an answer. I mean, everybody that we talked to about it, everybody that we asked about it could understand the strategy of showing up and then holding in. But holding in and still participating in team activities, just not practicing. Fine, you don't want to tear your ACL. You don't want to injure yourself in practice. And you're right. I think inevitably week one comes around, he's going to have to be out there. Hopefully, and I don't have any doubt that he's been doing this, hopefully he's in shape. He doesn't deal with the soft tissue injury or anything like that happens when you miss the kind of time that he's missing. Hopefully. But I want to believe that he's taking care of himself and he's doing the work that he needs to do to avoid that.
That's the question I have with Hard Knocks. This agent is Hard Knocks is reaching out to the agent, correct? Like if Pat Harris and his team, they're reading all these negative reviews of HBL's calling up and saying, "What is all this?" Blah, 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 blah. That's the way to kind of reverse course. Like, hey, here's the agent, and all of a sudden you have the agent and you're hearing the one side of him talking to Bean.
Yeah, that would be if that made it into the episode, that would be interesting. But it would also be feels like that would be very out of character for Brandon Bean to be like, yeah, let's put that in the episode.
Right, because the Bills can say,
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, even have Sean McDermott. And if you missed our conversation with Sean McDermott from earlier in the week, we're going to replay that for you here in less than an hour. And yeah, camp is over, but we're still kind of like living in the afterglow of camp. We're gonna get to our conversation with Greg Connors of Connors and Ferris, who joined us yesterday, right after camp ended. We'll replay that conversation, get his take on not just what he saw from the team, but just overall the camp experience was fantastic. Eric Turner of Cover One is also going to stop by the sports bar later this afternoon, right around 4:25.
Ooh, that is one I'm looking for. Have we had Eric on the show before? I don't think we have.
Did you have him on maybe when I was on vacation once?
We've had Craig Thompson on a lot of times.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get Eric on, and I'm glad we can make some time here because, look, there's no finger quote film we can kind of dissect, but there's things that our eyes tell us danger. But what they do at Cover One is, all right, the eyes, but what about the X's and O's and the film? So when it comes to Keon Coleman, when it comes to Cole Bishop, when it comes to some of these rookies and where they are in the development, we've got our questions all lined up for Eric coming up in the 4 o'clock hour today.
Mentioned McDermott. One of the things that he told us was when we asked him about Hard Knocks was that he mentioned that he kind of oversaw it, that he went into it, he watched it and made sure, even though it's not really technically his responsibility, he made sure his guys represented well, that they looked well, they came out looking good on the show. He didn't have to do that. He's the head coach, but he did it because it matters.
I put yourself in his shoes. If you had
You
that
have to.
power,
Yeah.
I'm taking 1 hour of my day and I'm writing things down. And did something come out? Ryan Talbot reported this, that it wasn't until 3:00 on Tuesday. Mind you, the thing debuted at 9 p.m. 6 hours before did the final cut actually come through. So that would lead me to believe that there was a few edits there.
I was just baffled by the idea that the blue and the red scrimmage was a week ago tonight, and they debuted that thing on Tuesday, just 3 days later. I mean, that's some fast editing. That's some quick decision making.
So with that being said, they're getting the Giants game in there, right? It's going to be, this episode will be, hey, here's James Cook, da-da-da-da. I figure Andreessen will make it in, da-da-da-da. And it'll be the move back, the scene change, as Pat Harris calls it.
Yeah.
Scene change, and here's who did well and here's who did poorly against the Giants.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's how you cap.
End scene.
That's how you cap episode 2 with Saturday's game. So game happens Saturday, new episode on Tuesday. Quick turnaround. Really, really impressive how quickly they turned that thing around. The Bills did make a move today.
Mm-hmm.
We have a kicker for Saturday's game.
We do, and he kicked at Ole Miss danger, which, look, his numbers are actually pretty good. Caden Davis, so Ole Miss last year, and he with Tyler Bass not available, it's they needed a place. Ray Davis, I'm sure, will take some of this as well. But Caden Davis last year, 6 in PATs made in Ole Miss history. And when you look at his stats, he was a Lou Groza semifinalist last year, 24 of 29 on field goals, 57 of 59 on PATs, and Ole Miss scored 502 points as a team last year. So I guess my question is, if this kid comes out and nails a 50-yarder, are we having a conversation? I don't think we are, because
I don't think we can.
Tyler Bass's contract is still underwater, meaning it will cost you more to keep him off the team than on. That's never a good thing.
Now, we can say this now because we saw it with our eyes. The day that they were working out the kickers was the day that it rained. It was Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon. And I don't know who was who out there that was getting worked out, but here's what I'll say about these two kickers that were there, or at least one of the two kickers that was there. They were athletic. Yeah, kickers are kickers. They are athletes, but they're different. These guys, one of the guys was doing like the kind of exercises and the moves and drills that I'm like, oh, that's an athlete. Not only an athlete, but an athlete who can kick the ball 50 yards. So I don't know if that was Davis or if that was some of the other people that they had come in for a workout. But it is Caden Davis who will be kicking for the Bills tomorrow. They move off of a wide receiver that you've never heard of in the corresponding move there to get Davis to the 90-man roster. And that's saying something, by the way, for as thin as the Bills have been at wide receiver this training camp. Kelly Akharai?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kelly not going to be here much longer.
What movie is that? That's Office Space. Good. Like 4 50-yard field goals with Ole Miss.
Okay.
So, all right.
We will revisit our conversation from yesterday. Right after practice, we had the chance to speak to Greg Connors, one of our sponsors of our training camp coverage, Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Good catching up with Greg at the close of training camp. We know he has lots of thoughts, not just on the team, but also on camp itself. And we'll get his take on Hard Knocks as well. Greg Connors, Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, joining us next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the
Bills and Giants coming up tomorrow. In advance of that, a place kicker signed today. His name's Caden Davis. Spent last year at Ole Miss. Tyler Bass not available for this game. 11 a.m. for our pregame coverage. 1 o'clock the kickoff tomorrow here on the Fan Rochester. There are 3 games tonight in the NFL, including the Browns and the Panthers. Shedeur Sanders will see roughly 50 snaps tonight at quarterback for Cleveland. Sanders wants to make the most of this opportunity.
I think every rep I get in general is valuable. You know, we definitely taking things up a notch, I would say, with everything. So every rep, you know, anytime I step on the field, I take it, you know, like it could be my last because you don't know.
Baseball, the Yankees tonight host the Astros. The Red Wings look to break a 3-game slide as they continue their series in Norfolk. Gene Battaglia and the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back into the sports bar. You're at Battaglia, the final day of Buffalo Bills training camp here at St. John Fisher University, and we welcome in one of the sponsors of our training camp coverage here from Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Greg Connors joining us here in the sports bar.
Thanks for having me back.
Greg, what a camp. I mean, other than it rained a little yesterday afternoon, I mean, you couldn't ask for better weather. You couldn't ask for, better scene on Hard Knocks. Let's start there. What was your impression watching that first episode of Hard Knocks?
I really loved what they did for Rochester. I thought they did a great job highlighting Rochester and the beauty that we have here and the campus here at Fisher. It was great, and I like the fact there wasn't any major issues or controversies or drama. This team,
episode 2.
Yeah, right. That's true. There's a little drama here underneath the surface, but I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Greg, are you of the hearing what you just said? I'm going to call out my co-host here a little bit. I think he's a little greedy. I think he's a little upset at how they shot downtown Rochester.
Listen, this is my take. See if you agree with it. I think some people have a good side and a bad side. I'm going to shoot downtown Rochester. It's looking north, Ford Street Bridge, U of R kind of angle where you have the skyline and the Freddie Sue Bridge. That made us look kind of Rust Beltish, I thought, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Kodak. It's iconic.
Yeah,
it's what we're known for.
I could see that, and that's good feedback. I'm sure the editors and the producers would love to hear that. I think that's a good point. When I think of, this is a national crowd, and so when people think of Rochester, they think of Kodak, they think of Xerox. So having that for me was, I didn't see too. It didn't jump out at me as that it was a bad foot. That it was a bad impression I would leave upon those watching from California or from Texas.
You walk around camp a lot. We watch you, and you're mingling with a lot of people, both on the team and outside of the team. Do you have any idea where that hill is that Trey White is running up? Because I can't find it. I don't know where it is. You have more access than we do.
So I believe it is right on the other side of the building.
Okay.
Of the right here where the driveway is, where the field house is. I believe it's right over there.
Okay, yeah. You got to go check that out here. Greg, I've never felt more confident about the Bills returning next year. We had Pete Goelli on, and he talked about how there's this negotiation. So just your thoughts here on the future of training camp here, the one that you sponsor.
From the time McDermott, Sean came in as the coach, and they came here for his first camp, he always told me how he loved it here. And one of the reasons why he loves it here so much is that it gives them an opportunity for over 2 weeks to get to know each other and to have them integrate themselves and figure out who they are as people, what makes them tick. Because when you get into December and in January and it's cold and you got to grind, you want to know who you're doing, what you're doing, and who you're doing it for. And getting that connection here at camp, I think that bond that is created here is invaluable. And Sean, who was, Division I player, but small Division I, camp was where everybody got to know each other, right? Some of my great memories of playing college football was being on the campus by ourselves with no other students and just playing football. And so I think that's one of the things he really takes away from that and really enjoys here. It's away from the distractions, We're Rochester. We have a lot of fun here, but it's not the distractions when you live in Buffalo, your family's in Buffalo, your friends are in Buffalo, the nightlife's in Buffalo. When you get here, you got to be in your room at 10:30. That's a whole different vibe and a whole different feel that I think he embraces here. So I've always been confident that if it works for the team, if it works for what Sean and Brandon need to get out of this, that it'll stay here.
I also think if you're another team that does have training camp on your facility, then it starts to feel, I mean, everybody, it's their job, but it feels more like a job. You clock out, you're going home instead of going to a dorm or playing games until 10:30, until lights out, right? I'm wondering if the NFL and the teams that don't go away to camp, if they somehow reverse course, and because it became very en vogue to have camp at the facility, given the success that the Bills have had, or the Chiefs, or other teams that have gone away to camp for many years.
This is a copycat league. The Bills win the Super Bowl this year. You might see more teams in the future doing a camp away from their facility. You know, the one thing that they have to balance is, you know, the rehabilitation facilities they have here are not the state-of-the-art ones like they have back at home. And as long as the benefit of being here outweighs any, I don't want to say detriment, but any downside to it of those types of that situation, where else would they go? I mean, there's no better place than here. The welcome of the fans here. You get access from Syracuse to Finger Lakes, Hornell, people from Buffalo are here. I mean, I meet so many people who make it their vacation destination is to come to Rochester during these 2 weeks Bills camp is here.
Greg, not going to ask you anything specific about the James Cook situation because we don't know. We're just all kind of figuring out where does the story go. But I want to ask you the question from the angle of a negotiator. You're an attorney. You do a lot of this. So when you have two sides that from the outside seem pretty dug in, how do you kind of bridge the gap there if you're one of those sides?
Well, you know, it's about leverage. I mean, negotiations are about leverage. If you're willing to walk away from a negotiation, then you're willing to walk away. That then puts pressure on the other side. You know, what I know of and I see what James is doing is James came in and he showed the Buffalo Bills front office and the team that he is ready to play football. He's fit. He looked quick as ever. He had great speed. He was very focused. And that's what he had to prove. Now the whole thing is, now if I can't get the deal, I'm thinking he's probably saying, so if I can't get the deal that I want, I need to preserve my asset. My asset is my legs. So why would I put extra wear and tear on my legs when I'm not getting paid where I think my value is? And so then it'll come into the season. You know, as long as he comes in and he stays prepared and he stays in the condition he's in, which I have every confidence he will, and then it's a matter of getting in and proving himself.
Greg Connors of Ferris joining us in the sports bar. We won't see Josh Allen on Saturday. Do you think we need to see him at all this preseason?
No. What do we need to see? I mean, I think right now the most important question is who's two? You know, is it Trubisky? You know, is it White? Where's that fit? That's I think these guys, I think it would be a disservice to them to not give them as many snaps as they can get. We know what Josh's capability is. Josh doesn't need any more work with the receivers. If he does, he's going to do it in practice. That game speed, everything they're doing, you know, the level of intensity that Josh operates at and he demands and they demand of each other, you can get that at practice. So I would be shocked if he played any preseason games.
Wow.
Who stood out to you this camp? I'll start with you, my standouts, and they're not new guys. They're the two old guys. Milano, I don't think you could ask anything more at this point in Tre'Davious White, but for you, Greg, who stood out to you?
Well, my initial gut reaction when he said that was Tre'Davious White. You know, being a former corner, love watching these guys play, love seeing his energy, love what he's been doing with his footwork. You know, with his injury he's had with his legs, you kind of wonder where he's at. That close, aggressive play that he has, I love what he's doing. I think he's going to have a great year. You know, hopefully we get Max back here before the beginning of the season so you can give Trey some breaks and he can mentor him and get him up to speed. And again, it's all about what are you going to look like in come November, December. And then the other person for me that I really enjoyed watching was Ray Davis. You know, last year he came in as a rookie. He had a lot to prove. He had a bit of a breakout year last year, but I like the way that he works. He's a grinder. he's got a chip on his shoulder still. And when you got a guy like Cook who's not here right now, what an opportunity for him to step up and say, hey, look, if he doesn't work out, you still have me. So it was fun to kind of watch him take the opportunity that's been given to him and kind of showcase himself a bit.
Okay, so you mentioned Ray Davis, and you talked about leverage in the Cook situation. How do you manage Ray Davis's preseason reps, knowing that if you have a Ray Davis injury in the preseason, that gives James Cook a little bit more leverage for what he's looking for out of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think he would be he would be limited as you know what he can provide. I'd put him in there to get some reps, but beyond the first quarter, I'm not sure I would want to do that, and I would suspect that they would do that.
Yeah, I want to see Ray Davis kick on Saturday, like extra point. Why not give the fans something like? It's not a crazy idea. You do need an emergency kicker, Greg.
It's not. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, right? I mean, I haven't heard anything about T-Bass and kind of where he's at. And
we haven't seen him kick in 2 weeks. We
what
know
they're
that.
doing. And I candidly don't think I haven't seen him kick here, like you said, the 2 weeks. I wouldn't put him on the field on Saturday to do it. Why? What are you going to gain from it? You still have a month left before the season, but I would not be surprised. Either that or they're going to go for 2.
Greg, camp is over, but the season is just beginning, and we know we'll be seeing you around Highmark and Saturday. Enjoy the game, and best of luck this season to you and your team, and thank you for all you do for us here at the Fan Rochester to be able to provide this to the fans.
Thanks for having me. You guys are great. We love what you're doing. Keeping the voice of football and the Bills here in Rochester is an important responsibility, and you guys do it well.
We don't take it for granted.
Yes.
Thanks, Greg.
Right after practice, now we should say, because that happened yesterday, a little footnote here, the Bills did today sign a kicker for tomorrow afternoon's preseason opener.
Yeah, his name's Caden Davis, Ole Miss. Jackson Dart will be on the other side. So a little Ole Miss 2024 action. And you would figure you've got to see Ray Davis out there once for the fans, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not excited about it. I'm going to hold my breath. I'm not excited about Ray Davis and the potential of him even playing in a play.
Pulling a hamstring, attempting a kick?
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you're talking about him just as a kicker.
That's it. This is a kicker.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. I mean, how much of a sideshow do we want to make this tomorrow? I mean, I feel like they still have work that needs to be done. Like there's still players out there that are fighting for their future that want to get good film and be able to shop it around.
So things tomorrow.
Get the bingo card out.
Get the bingo card out. A Ray Davis kick, extra point or field goal.
I don't think it's happening. Not with the signing of Caden Davis.
A post-game handshake between McDermott and Dable.
Yes.
No.
Icy, but yes.
Yes.
I think so. I think you get the sense McDermott has just changed. He's just loosened up a little bit. I think he's so secure in his lot in life that he's willing to move past that. I don't know that Dayball is, but I think McDermott's above that.
Let me channel my Pat Duffy here. Over under half a touchdown for Tyrell Shavers.
Oh, Shavers is scoring. Yeah. Shavers is scoring for sure. We'll go with the Shavers touchdown, and I'm okay. Over under 9.5 tackles for Joe Andreessen.
Controversially, I'm going under. He's that important, Danger.
Yeah.
He will be not out there in the third quarter. His day will be done by that point.
Yep.
We'll see Jimmy Charlo second half.
Or
Jimmy Charlo.
Eddie Ulafascio.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those guys will be out there. What other props are we looking at for tomorrow's preseason game? What other over-unders can we discuss here? Does Mike White get more playing time than Mitch Trubisky, or do they try to keep it as even as possible? Because Shane Buechele is fourth quarter. Forget about it.
Like you will be here until the cut down day.
That's right.
Like hopefully you get some good tape and somebody will bring you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets more tomorrow? I'm thinking it's the veteran Trubisky. White's a veteran too, but the guy that we would kind of think would be the more accomplished of the quarterbacks.
But I also then would think that Mike White would need more reps than Trubisky, that you would want to give White more reps just to see what can he do with those reps. If you're really truly making this a competition,
Or do
you know what Trubisky is. Everybody, the whole league knows what he is at this point.
Or danger, do we save Mitchell Trubisky for the revenge game next Sunday night?
There you go. Well, he had a revenge game last preseason too.
Didn't matter.
Didn't really matter.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to look back at his time in Chicago with any sort of fondness. Poor guy. They absolutely torched him. Just demoralized the poor guy. I hate that. I hate that for him. It'll be fun one way or the other. Gino's going. We'll have the coverage for you here on the Fan Rochester. Pregame starts at 11. Kickoff just after 1. The Fan Rochester, your home of Buffalo Bills football, will have all the preseason and regular season action for you here on the Fan.
Fantastic. We've got more Bills talk coming up later. We will be talking to Eric Turner, Cover One. Really, if you want to kind of do a little deeper dive, we're beyond Hard Knocks, anything like that, talking about some of these guys that we're all expecting a little more out of this year, whether that's Keon Coleman or Cole Bishop or some of these rookies. What is the film telling us? Eric Turner will be joining us. And then, Danger, I think it's a great idea that we put the coach on here coming up.
Yeah, we're kind of still basking in the afterglow of Buffalo Bills training camp, and it was certainly a highlight for us to be able to speak to Sean McDermott and not just talk to him about Hard Knocks, but talk to him about camp, talk to him about Rochester, talk to him about his team going into this season. I wanted to know more about his work-life balance. I'm always fascinated by the life of an NFL head coach when you hear the stories of how demanding that job is. So we'll dive into all of it with Coach McDermott when he stopped by the sports bar earlier this week. We'll replay that conversation for you coming up next on the Fan Rochester.
Rochester. From the studios at High Falls, powered by Billetier Electric, Rochester and Western New York's electric leader. This is The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester. WROC AM, WBEE HD2 Rochester, and streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
But Tyler Bass not available tomorrow. Today, the Bills signing a kicker. His name is Caden Davis. He was with Ole Miss last year. Bills and Giants, 11 a.m. for the pregame coverage, 1 o'clock to kick off tomorrow here on The Fan Rochester. We'll have a conversation with Bills head coach Sean McDermott coming up next here. There are 3 games in the NFL tonight, including the Browns and the Panthers. Shedeur Sanders to see roughly 50 snaps at quarterback tonight for Cleveland. Here's head coach Kevin Stefanski.
We'll rest some starters. Some players will play, obviously holding out some guys due to injury. As you know, Shedeur and Snoop would be the quarterbacks that are playing in this game. It's a great opportunity for all of our young players.
Baseball, the Yankees tonight hosting the Astros. The Mets are Milwaukee. The Red Wings continue their series in Norfolk. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
You got it. We'll get you out. Give me a heads up. Good. Welcome back into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia live from Buffalo Bills training camp, St. John Fisher University. As camp is starting to wind down, we're all abuzz after last night's Hard Knocks and making his inaugural visit into the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. We welcome in head coach Sean McDermott. Sean, I think they should rename the show Hard Knocks. We dare you not to like the Buffalo Bills. It was such a great representation of what you and Brandon and Terry have built here at St. John Fisher University. Welcome into the Sports Bar. Did you watch the show? What was the plan last night?
I watched a little bit of it. I had already kind of had a feel for the content of it and a little bit of the story that they were going to tell. I think it's part of my responsibility, even though it's not really on a head coach's love list of things to do and spend his time on, but just protecting the players and making sure that they're portrayed in the proper light. I think that's important, especially for the types of players we have and the people that they are. I want to make sure they're being painted in the right way.
It's a peek behind the curtain, so we saw the players going into dorm rooms. Are you in one of those little rooms, or do you get the RA corner suite here?
I got the RA corner suite. I've got a lounge chair in there, kind of like a dad's chair, but I don't know how to. There's no handle on the old ones. You put the handle, crank it, and the feet come up. I have not been able to figure it out. It's a little bit more advanced than I'm ready for right now.
Well, you got your dad chair, and we know that you're a proud Section 6 dad. And for all of us that are Section 5 parents, Sean, how do you balance that work and that home life, especially this time of year? I can't imagine what the time demands are of being an NFL head coach, and I imagine that that's an enormous challenge for you.
No, it is, and it is for a lot of people. It's not just because I'm an NFL head coach. The job is very broad, and it takes a lot of my time. My wife does a tremendous job. I've got 3 children, and there's nothing more that, as you know, that we want to do than spend time around our children, help them develop, be there for them. It makes it hard at times, right? The off season is really good. It's really conducive for me reconnecting with them. The season, however, training camp as the start of it is the time for me to be away, and they understand it. But I tell them they are my priority, and they know that.
Sean, we love having you in Rochester. We wish you were here longer, but this final 2 days here. As far as our town, I mean, we know you like the dairy. Do you get out anywhere else here in Rochester?
I have. Just yesterday morning on our day off, I like to do some hot yoga, and I went down into the town there and did some hot yoga at Breathe. And where else have I been? I've been to JoJo's. I've been to Red. Couple nice dinners. Enjoyed a couple nice dinners at those 2 places, and I love to walk. So there's a lot of times I'm walking into town, and people will stop, pull over. We take a couple pictures and share life a little bit, and then I walk back. So it's just a time for me really I go by myself most of the times. It's a time for me to kind of disconnect and just get with my thoughts and unplug a little bit.
Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott joining us in the sports bar. To the football stuff, Coach, what's the level of concern with the number of injuries that we have so far here at camp?
Very concerned. Listen, injuries are always a part of the process, always a part of trying to raise a team and get it going, whether they come up this time of year like they are now or they come up through the season. You never want them. You never like to see it. You have to manage it in the best way you can, and we've been able to do that over the years. Right now, it's been hanging around, and we're anywhere between 11 to 15 guys that have been missing practice totally. So we're trying to figure that piece out, trying to do all that we can. I know the players are working extremely hard, as is our medical staff, and we got to get healthy here soon.
The news this morning, Balin Spector waived injured. The timing of this, is that just a matter of, okay, give him a chance maybe to hook on somewhere else?
Well, we love Balin. He's a really good person, really good football player. He's been good for us. Availability is important, as we just talked about. So, hopefully things are able to come full circle with him, and we'll see where it goes.
Anything new on the James Cook front?
No change. He will not practice this morning. We move forward.
Saturday, we have a game. Looking forward to it. So are we ready to say Josh Allen, the starters? What would be kind of the plan for what fans may see coming up Saturday?
Yeah, we're still working through that as a staff. Again, when we mentioned some of the work we put in yesterday, trying to plan today's practice, tomorrow, and the day after that, we're about halfway through that conversation. So just the way I believe in doing things, hey, let's get it sealed and put together as a staff. Let's communicate clearly to the players, and then I can put it out there to the outside world.
Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott joining us in the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia on the Fan, Rochester. We talked about Hard Knocks, one of the players featured significantly on the show, Trey White, your first draft pick. And, man, he looks great. He looks great this summer. We remember him as an All-Pro. What are your expectations for Trey this upcoming season?
Well, I think we need to manage those expectations. This is a young man that's done so much for this organization, and to have him back and what that means. That said, he is coming off of two major surgeries, two major injuries, and last year what we thought we saw from a distance, albeit, was Trey really working hard on getting himself back, in LA, then Baltimore, and then, lastly with our game where he played us. He looks even better now than he did then. So it's this upward trajectory that Trey is on, and we'll see how far it travels and it goes for us this season.
Are you going to run hills with him?
Hey,
where is that hill? We were trying to figure it out.
Well, I don't even know.
It's got to be going up to
what's
the
awesome
expressway.
About that is, what I love about that, honestly, is some people may watch that and go, oh, he's just doing that for the cameras. No, he does that. He's done that since I've known him, right? He does it at home. He does it here. It's just it's who he is. It's his work ethic.
What does it say about the culture you built here, Sean, with everybody else, that you have a player that was at All-Pro, but he recognizes the value of what this means, the Buffalo Bills?
It makes me emotional, honestly. It's, to me, when you coach and you're trying to do a good job in anything you do, right, and you have someone that feels as strongly about things about this town, about the Buffalo Bills as I do, and wants to come back and help us, I think that's tremendous. It really is. And those are the things you remember. The wins and losses, they're awesome, right? Especially the wins. And, we want to win a world championship. But even that, at the end of the day, you hear people, Scotty Scheffler 2 weeks ago, talk about, hey, 2 minutes after, I'm already thinking about, the next thing. And so it's really the relationships and the memories you build over the years.
We're in constant, continuous improvement mode, Sean, and I'm curious as to what you, Sean McDermott, the coach, Sean McDermott, the man, what are you looking to improve on here at this camp?
Well, today in particular, we're looking to improve on a couple key areas. Hey, how we handle our no-huddle situation, how we handle one-possession games, which is really what the NFL is, week in and week out. So just areas that I feel like over the years are important year to year, but also then show up that, hey, this is an area where I felt like we could have been a little bit better. Hey, let's put a little bit more time into it. So we're going to be working on those things this morning.
Sean, appreciate the time today. Thanks so much. Good luck today.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
There's Sean McDermott, who joined us in the sports bar before practice on Wednesday.
Yeah, and to clarify, when we talked to him, then after we learned that, no, we're not going to see Josh Allen. But we will see starters out there coming up tomorrow. To what degree? Maybe a series or two, but no Josh Allen tomorrow against the Giants.
We had some preseason football last night in the NFL. It was the Ravens and the Colts. It took Anthony Richardson, I want to say, 5 plays before he had to exit with a dislocated pinky. Colts, Daniel Jones coming in after that, and, kind of looking like Daniel Jones. Nothing really too inspiring. I will say, Jalen Milroe, late last night, Seahawks rookie quarterback against the Raiders, 1 touchdown, 6 of 10 passing, 61 yards, rushing 3 times for 38 yards. Jalen Milroe had himself a decent night last night.
I thought he would have gone higher in the draft. Honestly.
A lot of knocks on him.
A
lot of knocks on him coming out of Alabama. We also heard word today that the Chargers suffered a blow to their offensive line. Rashawn Slater is out for the year with a torn patellar tendon. So if you're somebody that was looking at the AFC West and wondering, is there a team that can dethrone the Chiefs? Maybe it still is the Chargers, but that is going to hurt their chances.
So we know the Bills are going out to not only play the Bears in preseason game number 2, they're going to go a little early. And they're going to have the joint practices.
Yeah.
The Bears are already doing this.
Yeah, against Miami.
So today, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel breaking up a fight amongst his own players on the sideline. It happened toward the end of practice. A receiver named D. Eskridge, and there was actually a Bears safety. So a lot of things happening, and I'm sure that it's not what you want here if you're the Bills heading out to Chicago.
Just kind of following reports from that joint practice between the Bears and the Dolphins. I hope you're sitting down, but Tremaine Edmonds made a play. Tremaine Edmonds had a pick, and the report was, I believe it was a pick 6. So just throwing that out there that Tremaine Edmonds actually was where he needed to be, made a play, and took it to the house.
Tremaine Edmonds' rookie season. It's the last game of the year against the Dolphins. Many people would remember this game as being the Kyle Williams game. Mm-hmm. You know, Kyle Williams, last game, whatever, and Tremaine Edmonds has an interception of Ryan Tannehill. Like, whoa! He just dropped back into coverage, and the speed and the closing and the hands. It's like, okay, that was the one splash play, and then like, okay, can we have more of that? And then the next year, can we have more of that? And can we have more of that? As far as Bills players that they let walk in free agency, like that was pretty universal. Like, okay, we're not going to.
He's not the guy.
No,
it's maddening to watch that player because you see him as a physically imposing figure and think that guy is going to put a hurt on anybody he comes in contact with, and his game just isn't that physical. You physically, that guy looks like he could be a Patrick Willis type of linebacker, right? Like, oh my God, he's all over the field. Physically.
What were we told camp 1?
What the ceiling was for him.
Ray Lewis. That's like, no, don't tease me. Don't do that to any player.
Don't tease
moving
me.
Forward, because then that's going to stick.
I just remember seeing him physically saying, my God, he looks imposing. His size, his length, everything about that guy. What you would think for that position, he could be special. And look, the shelf life for a linebacker is certainly a lot longer than it is for a corner or defensive lineman. He could still wind up having a decent-ish career. But I think we've seen through the course of his career up to this point, it's largely been disappointing.
Well, toward the end of his time in Buffalo, there was actually just a debate. I don't know how Merritt was like, are they playing him at the right position? Should he be kind of on the edge coming around the corner with that length and that speed? Because at middle linebacker, there were times where Matt Milano was telling him, okay, line up. You can't have that.
Yeah. And I'm sure in Chicago it's TJ Edwards that's, telling him where he needs to be because he seems like he's the superior of the two. But to see that Edmonds made a play in practice, I mean, that would be frustrating too. I would probably, if I was a Dolphin, I'd probably want to spark a fight with a teammate as well after that happens. You mean that guy made a play on us? Get over here. I got to punch somebody in the face. They play Sunday at 1. Oh, God. Sunday in
at
August
1.
at 1 in Miami. Oh, God. Think about that while you're roasting at Highmark tomorrow.
The Dolphins are going to make them wear the dark jerseys, right?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, they're not going to do them any favors.
Just terrible. Tomorrow it will be the Bills hosting the Giants at Highmark. The Bills won lone preseason game at Highmark Stadium. And we know that the Bills will have a kicker not named Tyler Bass on the field. Caden Davis signed to the 90-man roster today. Pretty decent while at Ole Miss the last 2 seasons.
57 to 59 on PATs. 4 50-yard plus field goals in his time with the Rebels. It was an offense that, they put up a lot of points. And playing in the top conference, okay, bring him in for a look. If he looks the part tomorrow, Danger, people are going to be like,
yeah.
Oh, I wonder.
What have you done for me lately?
I think the concern here, though, is like you do have a new holder in the punter. You do have this. You need Bass back.
There's a chemistry that needs to happen, a timing that needs to happen between snapper, holder, kicker. And Bass not being available is not ideal. You're trying to work on that timing, that chemistry between the 3 phases of that kickoff exchange. So the Bills aren't going to move off of Bass because of that contract, right? That contract is not favorable for the Bills. They have to hold on to Bass.
It would cost them more to have him off the roster than
right.
Yeah.
So what kind of a problem is Tyler Bass if you're doing that? It has to go beyond just the injury. It has to go to he's not only is he injured, he's just being a D. We got to get rid of him.
Is the lesson here don't pay a kicker? I mean, you like Tyler Bass, but we don't criticize that move at all for Brandon Beane.
To pay the kicker.
To pay the kicker.
I think at the time they paid the kicker, it made a lot of sense to pay the kicker. Tyler Bass was
one of the best in the game.
He was automatic. You didn't have to worry about anything. Now you kind of hold your breath a little bit. You hope that it's consistent. You hope that he got and he won back some favor with the 60-yarder against the Dolphins.
Is he on the team if he doesn't make that 60-yarder?
Ooh.
I'm thinking he's not. Or at the very least, they bring in somebody else, and you have that awkward, we're carrying 2 kickers, or we're elevating another kicker up from the practice squad. That 60-yarder saved his job, in my opinion.
Eric Turner, cover 1, stopping by the sports bar next. And, it's fun. We'll talk to a St. John Fisher grad as St. John Fisher, of course, turning the page on Buffalo Bills training camp. But the film work that they do over there at Cover 1 that Eric and his team are doing is impressive stuff. And we'll get some of his thoughts on what he's been seeing through practice.
Yeah, the thing, and I will say this, line play is tough to evaluate. Can we just kind of admit that? It's easy to see, right, when a defensive lineman makes a big play, but is the offensive line doing the right stuff? And in particular at training camp, when they're not wearing pads, you're really not getting – well, we did have some padded practices, and there are a few new faces on that defensive line, particularly T.J. Sanders, Deion Walker. I mean, what kind of roles will we see these guys? Those are a few of the topics I want to hit up with Eric.
Yeah, I think there's a handful of players here we can get Eric's opinion on here as we reach the preseason. Some of these guys are injured. We'll see what his thoughts are on what they can do once they do get healthy and get back on the field. So looking forward to a productive conversation here, talking Buffalo Bills with Eric Turner of Cover 1 next on The Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
Tyler Bass not available. The Bills today signing a kicker. Caden Davis was with Ole Miss last year. It's the Bills and Giants, 11 o'clock for the pregame, 1 o'clock the kickoff tomorrow here on the Fan Rochester. Some Bills talk coming up next. Eric Turner from Cover One joining us here in the Sports Bar. There are 3 games tonight in the NFL, including the Browns and the Panthers. Shedeur Sanders to see roughly 50 snaps at quarterback for Cleveland. Shedeur wants to make the most out of this opportunity.
I think every rep I get in general is valuable. We definitely taking things up a notch, I would say, with everything. So every rep, anytime I step on the field, I take it, like it could be my last, because you don't know.
Baseball, the Yankees hosting the Astros tonight. The Mets are in Milwaukee. The Red Wings looking to break their 3-game slide in Norfolk. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Our coverage of Buffalo Bills training camp is brought to you by Ace Swim and Leisure. Get the most out of summer. Ace has beautiful outdoor furniture, fire pits, parts, accessories, chemicals, everything you need for your pool. Chili Ave and Ridge Road in Webster. AceSwim.com as we welcome in Eric Turner. Covering the Bills, Cover One. Official portion of the camp done. Eric, who stood out to you from your observations?
I'd have to go with Matt Milano. I mean, we saw how he came on second half of last year, and he stepped it up another notch. He looks trim, light on his feet, very fluid again. There were times, from the time he got injured to when he, began his recovery and started playing again, where he kind of looked top heavy, where, he wasn't doing a lot of lower body work as, going through his recovery, and got a little top heavy, a little too big on the upside. But now he just looks light on his feet. He was consistently making plays in the run and pass game, whether you're talking zone drops, picking off Josh Allen, carrying running backs up the sideline on wheel routes and rail routes. To me, he's the one that stood out and honestly could make a huge difference in the Bills' defense if he's healthy for the entire season.
Yeah, I would agree with you. A lot of people, rightfully so, talking about Tre'Davious White and going into this. Eric, we were having a debate here, like, okay, who's better served at outside linebacker? Is it Matt Milano? Is it Dorian Williams? Well, Williams not available every practice. Milano looking like his old form. What do you do with Dorian Williams, a guy who can make plays himself? Could we actually see some plays with 3 linebackers for the Bills this year, do you think?
Great question. I feel like we've been asking that the last few years. I think once Dorian does get up to speed and back on track, I think there are going to be times that you're going to see 3 linebacker sets. And we did in flashes in certain game plans last year where they kind of bumped Dorian over to Sam linebacker, sometimes even putting him on the line of scrimmage and showing basically 5 guys across the line of scrimmage. And so I would like to see that more. And yeah, it could possibly be in the game plan for week 1, but it's hard to say because you play a team in the Ravens that uses a lot of multiple tight end sets where you could use 3 linebackers, but again, the health and the lack of reps there, I don't know if we'll see it that soon in the season, but I do think it is possible, especially when you consider how often teams ran on the Bills out of those heavy sets last year.
Eric, I don't know that we spent enough time talking about Keon Coleman through the St. John Fisher portion of training camp. We know what our eyes tell us. He's bigger. We like some of what we saw. We also see that he put in that work in the offseason, as I mentioned, but there were also some drops. What do your eyes say about Keon so far this camp?
I do think I agree with you. Like physically, he looks different. He looks like he's a lot more purposeful when he's running the drills, regardless of whether he's catching or not. But the thing that really stood out to me about him is his involvement. It's pretty obvious that Brady and this offense, they're going to rely on him in situations, whether it's run or pass. He's been consistent in the one area that the team wanted from him when he left last year through his exit meetings, and that was winning those 50-50 physical balls when Josh throws them up and trust him, bringing those down. It seems like he makes those look very easy, whether he's got to high point the ball or back shoulder it, but it's those routine kind of easier catches that he has struggled with last year a little bit, and even more so in camp this year. A couple of those drops at the blue and red, practice out at Highmark, where he's wide open against zone defenses, not anyone around him, and he dropped it. And so, yeah, that inconsistency is still there. kind of reminiscent of Dawson Knox in his early career, where he would struggle with the easy ones and make the difficult ones look much, much easier. But as long as early on, when they do count on him in those certain, like down and distances, third and fourth down, certain areas of the field, red zone, low red zone, where they can just throw it up to him and kind of have that inherent trust in his basketball background to go up and get the ball, I think he's going to be fine. I think the consistency maybe doesn't come for the easy stuff this year or the back half of this year, but over the course of his career, I'm not worried about him catching the ball in the easy situations and even those high leverage situations down the field.
Eric Turner from Cover One, as we are kind of reviewing the St. John Fisher portion of training camp. We will have the Bills and Giants tomorrow here on the Fan Rochester pregame coverage beginning at 11 a.m. Eric, I always think, for me personally, line play, it's not the easiest to evaluate. It's a little over my head personally, especially when some of these players aren't in full pads, right? But there are some things that you can certainly tell, like Deion Walker. Oh, okay, that looks different. That guy's big, and you can imagine what the possibilities of having a space eater like that could do for the Bills defense in certain situations. So my question is, assuming Deion Walker is fully healthy here, where do you see him in terms of his development right now?
You know, it's kind of a slow burn for a player like him. You know, his best year in college was in 2023, not so much in 2024, where both of those years, you know, they're kind of different ends of the spectrum. But I think it's going to be a slow burn for his development. He's getting a lot of nose tackle reps, which, like you said, the Bills need a big body in there, but they also like a big body that is very attack-oriented, and he does have that, but he's kind of learning a different position than what he played a lot of in college, and so that position, as we all know as Bills fans, is a very selfless position, so there aren't going to be many times where you're going to hear his name called a game. He's not going to get 7 tackles a game. If anything, you're going to see his production and his good play kind of mirrored and referenced in Terrell Bernard or Matt Milano's play. So I think he's going to have limited opportunities to flash, and we've seen that in camp. There's been a few plays he's made in the screen game and attacking when there's obvious pass situations, but I think for the most part, you're not going to see a lot of one-on-one flash from him. So I do think we just need to temper the expectations. He's got a lot on his plate as a rookie, but he also has a lot on his plate because he's learning kind of a different position, and he's being coached up from Nielsen, who, if we're talking about standout players and guys that set out camp, if we're talking about coaches now, I think Nielsen is the guy that you want tutoring and mentoring these young defensive linemen that they brought in.
It's been fascinating to watch, and you're right, Eric. I mean, I spent a lot of time watching Ryan Nielsen work with the defensive line, almost as if that was the sole reason why he was hired by the Buffalo Bills this offseason. One of the guys he's working with, staying on the defensive line, a guy who's gotten some positive reviews, another rookie, talking about TJ Sanders. Eric, how do you envision his role on the team? Is he out there in pass rush situations, third down long alongside Ed Oliver, or does he have something more to offer the Bills?
I'm super excited about TJ Sanders. He's a guy that I pegged for the Bills as soon as the draft process started for me. I think he could have the biggest role of all the guys they brought in across the board. I think early on he's going to be a second down wave defensive lineman. When Oliver needs a blow, I think he'll be that immediate 3-tech at times to do that. And as you referenced, I think he'll be a third down staple defensive lineman, or even like obvious pass rush down, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 15. I think he will be the guy that comes in and plays next to Oliver when they align, not in a nose tackle position, but more of that wider two gap type of pass rusher, kind of like a wide alignment. And so him and Oliver can just create that disruption up the middle and have others kind of benefit from that disruption. I love his, explosiveness. He's got elite lateral quickness. His hand power and usage is so smooth, but at the same time powerful. I think he's going to be a huge problem, whether you're talking early downs or even on those third down or passing situations, because think about it. He's going to be fresh as a second wave guy. He's going to be fresh going against offensive linemen that have had to deal with Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, and all the other defensive linemen that the Bills rotate in. So I think he's going to be the biggest impact player when you're talking this rookie class that the Bills brought in.
Eric Turner from Cover One is our guest. Sticking on the defensive side here, Eric, and I mean, you hear this, the safety position for the Buffalo Bills, it's the backbone, right? And it's important to the McDermott defense. But why? Can you? Because to me, there's still a lot to figure out here in terms of who's going to be playing alongside Taylor Rapp. Why is it in this defense so important? Can you explain to us in a technical way what exactly that means? Why is there more responsibility at safety in the Bills' defense compared to some others?
Great question. Very loaded question. So I'll try to kind of whittle it down. It's a multi-dimensional position in the Bills' defense. A lot of what they do in coverage is handled by the safeties, where we're talking alignment, checks, and audibles. And guys like Taylor Rapp, maybe he's not the best athlete, but if he is able to win from the shoulders up pre-snap and post-snap like he does, that is why he's stuck around and the Bills love him so much. The safeties make Terrell Bernard's job that much easier because Bernard can set the defense, set the play, and then worry about the front 7 calls, alignments, and checks, and then the safeties on the back end are responsible for getting everything set in coverage. And as we all know, from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, they really set the standard very high for the Bills safeties because a lot of what they did started pre-snap by muddying up that picture, muddying up that look as to not tip what they're going to play in coverage on the back end post-snap. And so there's a certain level of responsibility and chemistry that comes with the safety position. And it's almost like what I say is like the safeties are like the central command for that 5-man weave when you're talking the Bills and nickel defense, and that's their primary defense is nickel, 5 DBs. And they're that central command for that. And they have to be able to do a bunch of things. They have to be able to play the box. They have to play the post. But they also have to make run fits from depth and make tackles from depth. And I think that's what, as much as there were injuries at that position and some inconsistencies last year at that position, when Rapp and Hamlin for that part were healthy, those two guys were really good tacklers and reliable tacklers. And as that safety of the defense, the last line of defense, that is really one of the highest priorities when you're talking about Bills defense.
He's Eric Turner of Cover One, joining us in the Sports Bar and recapping the Rochester portion of Buffalo Bills training camp. It was a training camp that, once again, Cole Bishop didn't see a lot of time on the field with. He's penciled in as a starter this year. We know that the Bills desire him to take that leap up, but now he's dealing with that quad, which is bad news. We can tell that he's gotten bigger this offseason. It was a pretty easy thing to see on day one of training camp. In what ways do you need to see Bishop improve here if he's going to be the starter next to Rapp?
Availability, right? That's number one. And being available has not been good enough in this training camp. He's missed a lot of reps. But the reps that we did see from him, there were flashes of him, like you said, physically improving, but like physically also just coming up and making plays and doing his job in many ways. But it from what I've heard this offseason and then early in camp when he was practicing, he's gotten very close with Taylor Rapp. And that rapport, as I just said, an ability to disguise things is huge. And how they can read each other verbally and non-verbally it seems like it's there, or at least blossoming more than it was last year. But if he can just get healthy and get those reps in and somehow at this point win back the starting position, because it looked like they kind of seated him there initially, and then obviously he fell off with missing practice. That athleticism of his can do a lot for this defense. And if they want to close down airspace and play a little more man coverage in some of those, high leverage situations so that they're not playing 7 yards off and, 3rd and 4, his athleticism can allow the Bills to call a little more man, bring him up on a tight end, and have him play against tight ends like he did at Utah. So he could help this defense take another step in their development and to complement the offense better, but he's just got to get on the field.
One guy who got himself back on the field really quick was Tyrell Shavers. I mean, like the fact that McDermott went out of his way to point that out, that he's playing through this ankle. We know the Bills love him. Well, how can he secure a spot? Could that be special teams? Could we see more of that for the last wide receiver position on this team on the 53-man roster? How big a factor do you think is special teams?
I think when you're talking that spot on the roster, I think it's priority number one. He's a special teamer, and ever since he's been on the Bills, where you're talking preseason or when he was called up, he's played a lot of special teams, essentially every special teams except for, I think, field goal block. And so I think special teams is at the core of his role. But I also like, one, he's available, and a lot of the receivers haven't been in camp. And when he's been available, the QB1 has trusted him, and the quarterbacks have trusted him to make plays when given those opportunities. So I like him because he's kind of on the bigger side when we're looking at the wide receiver room, the sizes and the roles and length. And I think that aside from just special teams, I think he brings a lot of the same skills, niche, body type that Coleman has. And so in those situations, as I talked about earlier, in the red zone, when you need a back shoulder or when you need a 50-50 ball or you need him to make a catch and extend the strike zone in the back at the back line of the end zone, he can do those things. He showed the Bills that this training camp. And so I'm excited to see how that wide receiver room and how that bottom of the roster shapes out when it comes to Tyrell Shavers.
Eric, if we're going to talk about teams along those lines, Brandon Codrington, is he special enough for the Bills to carry as a return-only specialist on special teams?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I honestly think he's a pretty good punt returner, 4th in yards last year, 5th in yards per return at 11.6, which is really, really good. I think he's okay as a kick returner to the point where, like, okay, I don't want to put out some other starter or even a running back too, like a Ray Davis out there, who probably will be out there anyways as two returners usually get back there. But he was only 17th in yards per return last year at 27.6. I think he's reliable enough that you want him as that I won't say special, but as that specialist. And he's reliable that the team is comfortable with him. And obviously they did like him last year. So I think he does make the roster, and I do think that he is heavily favored to win the return positions.
We'll have Bills football less than 24 hours from now. Bills Giants.
Yeah.
And, it's at this time of year, I like taking everything in, and it's fun to talk about the opponent here too in a preseason game. And I think we're going to get to see Jackson Dart tomorrow for the Giants, their quarterback of the future. Eric, what did you think of him coming out of the draft?
I thought he was a very exciting player. I think the offense that he kind of played in can kind of pigeonhole or limit a quarterback at times because it's very RPO oriented. A lot of conditional this or that type decisions when it comes to playing quarterback. But I think he's got moxie. I think he's entertaining, especially if you're talking off script. And that is important as a quarterback is growing early on in his career because he's not always going to understand what he's looking at. And so there are going to be times where he's going to have to just pull it down, as we saw Josh Allen do, and make some things happen outside of script, especially if we're talking Brian Dable and Kafka's offense. But you do see flashes of that skill. But you also see those moments where he holds on the ball too long because he doesn't know what he's seeing. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg syndrome there. But I think overall, expect some growing pains with him in years down the line, so year 2, year 3. I think that's when you start to see who he really is. But you can't deny that he's entertaining. He has some certain moxie to his game.
Eric, we mentioned it before we welcome you on. You're a Fisher grad, and I'm curious as to how much pride you have in seeing the school presented the way it was in Hard Knocks, and just seeing the school as it's changed through the years here, through all of the changes around training camp and what training camp has become now versus what it was when it first came to Fisher.
It's such an evolution because one of the main reasons I went to Fisher to play football there was because of the facilities that were brought there because of the Bills training camp there and the contract and a partnership they had those years ago. And so, I'm not surprised when it comes to how HBO conveyed and portrayed St. John Fisher. It was college. It's St. John Fisher College when I was there. Now it's university. It's obviously gotten a lot bigger. But I was impressed with how I've always been impressed with how they've, kind of conducted themselves and handled training camp and everything that comes with it. And so I think HBO did a great job of kind of portraying that. But it's not just Fisher. It's the Rochester community. It's the community in and around St. John Fisher, Pittsford, and all the little, things that come with it, with the, Pittsford Dairy and whatnot. I was very impressed in how they smoothly and so correctly conveyed not just Fisher, but the surrounding communities that have embraced the Bills over the years.
Yeah, Eric, it's the beginning of a long ride. We all hope for the Buffalo Bills this season. Tell our audience about Cover One and some of the content they can go check out there.
Yeah, so if you search us on YouTube, it's Cover One. That's the Cover One Sports. We try to slow down the game and make it digestible for the average fan. You can find us on YouTube, but all of our podcasts are also in audio form on iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Personally, we record 2 podcasts a week. It's the Film Room on Wednesdays. We've had multiple players on. We break down the game that just played. So we'll have an episode this week after the first preseason game. I also do a weekly podcast called Turf to Tape with Sal Capaccio of WGR, where we kind of bridge the media side of things and the access that he has with my film analysis all in one place, also kind of bridging the gap between the average fan and those hardcore enthusiasts. So you can find us on all social media outlets, YouTube, any podcast platform that you listen to, we're there. We have you covered every day of the week. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Now, Eric, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm not a film guy. I will defer to guys like you who I know break it down and love breaking it down. But after watching Anthony Richardson for the short amount of time we saw yesterday, this guy needs to get in the film room and start to recognize what's being presented to him by defenses. Does he not?
Yeah, that was kind of rough to see last night, and I think that's. I know we got injured on the play, but that is one of those moments that you hope that player can learn from that, because that was a pretty elementary type play if we're talking about baseline quarterbacking at the NFL level. And he should have, on that play he got hurt, he should have immediately got his eyes to the bottom of the screen, to the right side of the offense, where he had the numbers in his favor. So it's disappointing, but at the same time, yes, get in the film room, but learn from your mistakes and mend up.
Eric, appreciate you. Appreciate when Greg Thompson joins us every once in a while, because he's the numbers guy we rely on too.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, thanks for your time today. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and let's do this again soon.
You guys as well. Thank you.
There he is. Eric Turner, you can get his work at Cover One. Really fantastic stuff there, breaking down film and talking about some of the bigger storylines around some of the players heading into week one of the preseason.
Damar Hamlin's starting for the Bills over Cole Bishop.
Week one?
I think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I can appreciate where you're coming from with that take. I get it. And, I think that the Bills trust Hamlin. They trust him. But I think from what our eyes were seeing during practice, even with Bishop injured, he's still out there taking first-team mental reps with Rapp next to him. If he's healthy, he's out there. He's your starter. If he's not healthy, I think he's
do they trust? You said it.
The trust word. Yeah.
They trust Hamlin.
They do. I think they trust Cole because Cole. Look, Cole is, I think, a better overall football player than Damar Hamlin. He's bigger. He's got more playmaking ability. I think they trust Bishop. He just hasn't been healthy. They trust him enough to put him out there with the first team for mental reps. Even though he's not practicing, he's still doing the walkthroughs. He's still out there next to Rapp with the first team defense. So I can't remember which insider said, maybe it was Chris Brown, who said Cole Bishop is your week one starter, full stop. Just like we heard early in camp from Sal Capaccio, Matt Milano is starting, full stop. Don't even entertain the option of him not starting.
Going in, you and I were going back and forth. Like that there's no more debate.
And look, if there is an injury, then there is an injury, right? And so if Cole Bishop's quad keeps him out of week one, obviously you're going to start Damar Hamlin. But I don't think it's that kind of injury. I mean, he wasn't practicing when we last saw him on the field at Fisher, but he was going through the mental reps with the first team. And so I think it's just a matter of time before he's back at practice, ready to go for week one. And as far as the Dorian Williams-Matt Milano conversation goes, hey, look, Dorian Williams missed time during preseason or during training camp again, and he's out there with a brace on his knee. I don't know how serious his knee injury is or how much that's hampering him or his ability to stay on the field, but Matt Milano has looked fantastic. He's your guy.
Why did the Philadelphia Eagles, give me the number one reason why they clocked the Chiefs? It was their defensive line.
Defensive line was bigger, meaner, more physical.
Right. You keyed on Ryan Nielsen, what he's bringing to this defense here. And Walker, Sanders, we're not even talking about the two guys. Like, isn't that funny? Like, Ogunjobi and Hoyt, they were there, but we're not even kind of factoring that in. It's like we're seeing this stuff from the kids. It looks good in Fisher. It prints really well here. How is that going to look tomorrow?
Ryan Nielsen, by title, is senior defensive assistant or whatever. Whatever the title is, it's got senior in there somewhere. And if you don't know what his background is, he was defensive coordinator last year in Jacksonville. And if you remember last year when the Bills played Jacksonville, we talked to Mia O'Brien covering the team in Jacksonville, and she said, look, this defense is a mess. The defensive coordinator is rotating guys in when he shouldn't be rotating guys in. They're vulnerable. They're just not well coordinated. And I know that Ryan Nielsen, before he was with Jacksonville, was with the Saints. He was with the Saints when Trey Hendrickson was with the Saints.
Yeah.
He's the guy that a lot of people credit with the rise of Trey Hendrickson before he ended up in Cincinnati. And so watching Ryan Nielsen work exclusively with the defensive line at Fisher, it's like, okay, that's what they brought him here to do. They gave him a very specific role. Yes, you have this title. No, you're not the defensive coordinator, but yes, you can be impactful. And man, let me tell you, he was impactful. I was watching him. There were multiple practices where I just watched the defensive line, and I studied how he was teaching technique and how this guy was all energy. And I didn't expect that out of him, more so than the defensive line coach. He is the guy that if the defensive line steps up, obviously they have new pieces, and there are players there that are going to be asked to step up and make plays. But his coaching, his working with these guys, I'm not going to discount that. That's a big deal. He was great during training camp. He was something that caught my eye early on. Like this looks different. This is a guy that's really, really getting after the defensive line and working with these guys on their technique and how they can get through. It was impressive to see.
We've got time for your calls coming up in Happy Hour at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
Bills are on the field tomorrow, and we'll get you set up for week 1 of the preseason. We got action tonight. We got a round of shots. And as Gino mentioned, 866-4326. If you want to pull up a stool and join us in the sports bar, Danger and Battaglia, the Fan Rochester.
New York's electric leader. This is The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester. WROC AM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester. Sports update.
A roster move today as the Bills, they need a kicker for tomorrow. Caden Davis will handle those responsibilities. He played at Ole Miss last year. Tyler Bass will not be available tomorrow for the 1 o'clock kickoff, 11 a.m. for our pregame tomorrow. It's the Bills and Giants from Highmark here on the Fan Rochester. Tonight, there are 3 games in the NFL, including the Browns and the Panthers. Shedeur Sanders is going to see roughly 50 snaps at quarterback tonight for Cleveland. Here's head coach Kevin Stefanski.
We'll rest some starters. Some players will play, obviously holding out some guys due to injury. As you know, Shedeur and Snoop would be the quarterbacks that are playing in this game. It's a great opportunity for all of our young players.
Baseball, Yankees host the Astros, the Mets in Milwaukee, Jays and Dodgers in L.A. How about this pitching matchup? Max Scherzer going against Clayton Kershaw. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Welcome into Happy Hour with the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're starting your weekend with us at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The Fan Rochester inside the Odyssey app, iHeartRadio. Tune in. You can even watch the stream every afternoon from 3 until 6 on our Twitch or YouTube channels. The Fan Rochester is where you follow us. And, man, if you just came in and joined us, Eric Turner of Cover One was fantastic last hour. We've got that on for demand for you wherever you get your shows. You just search out the Sports Bar. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. If you missed it, you can get that conversation on demand.
Or any of the other guests we had over the last 2.5 weeks at Fisher, whether that's Terrell Bernard or Taylor Rapp or certainly head coach Sean McDermott, who we played for you in the 4 o'clock hour today. You can just go back in time on the rewind and listen to it there. But everything on demand, and you and I are still in that. Is it a glow or is it a hangover, Danger? Just like one of the two, where it's just like, when I come back from vacation, I'm always like, oh, that was so great. I wish I can't wait to do that. I'm ready to do the camp thing again, but I think for the Bills, they were ready to get back to Buffalo.
They always are. I mean, we always talk about and marvel at how quickly they get the F out of Dodge. They pull up stakes and they are gone. I mean, as soon as that practice is up at Fisher, they head right back to Orchard Park. And I feel like I've had this conversation with everybody that I've talked to that's asked about camp. I don't take any of it for granted. Gino, I know you feel the same way. It's a grind. It's a long day. And we're not even commuting the way some of the Bills beat reporters do. We're not staying in the dorms the way some of the Bills beat reporters do. I mean, there's a lot to be said for us having the comforts of home and still recognizing it as a grind. It's a long day. You're following the team. You're observing what you can observe at practice. And we're preparing to give you the best coverage that we can give you, the best detail that we can give you from what we see at practice and who we talk to as far as team, the players on the team or the coaches on the team. And then when it's done, it's like, oh, it's bittersweet. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a privilege to be able to do what we do and share it with you and try to report on Buffalo Bills training camp while it's here in our community. It feels like our Super Bowl every year.
It is, and I think we take it from the angle that we're Grease guys, we're Rochesterians at heart. Like, we want to represent our town. We know, okay, how important this is. We know, all right, that we want to put our best foot forward. So it's always that in the back of my mind that, we got to put out our best effort.
Well, our training camp coverage isn't possible without the help of our sponsors, Connors & Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, Maddie's Motorsports with locations in Dansville, Spencerport, Farmington, Maddie'sMotorsports.com. We the Hobby, you can visit them at 23 Arlington Street in Rochester, and Ace Swim and Leisure, Chili Ave, and Ridge Road, Webster. aceswim.com.
All great sponsors. So thank you to all of them for making it possible here. As we've got time for your calls. It's happy hour. It's Friday. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. We have Bills football tomorrow. Danger's taking the over on Tyrell Shavers' half touchdown.
Yeah. For sure.
Because we're doing like our own little mini version of Tommy Tells It Like It Is. A handshake between Daboll and McDermott. You never answered the question.
No,
there
I
yet.
think that happens.
You think it's required in the
I think it
preseason?
happens. I think it might be icy. It might be fast, but I think a handshake between the two will happen. I think McDermott's a high road guy. I think McDermott, regardless of what he might think about Daboll, what Daboll might think about him, I think McDermott will make the effort. That he will high road it, and it might not be cordial, but there will be a handshake.
Okay, that's fair enough. And then Ray Davis extra point attempt or a kick at all, maybe a field goal.
Well, I think the odds of that happening were dramatically reduced with the signing today of Caden Davis, new kicker for the Buffalo Bills, at least for the preseason or for week one of the preseason, as the tender pelvic region of Tyler Bass is still recovering. Pelvic soreness, I believe, is what has kept him out of practice for the Bills. We haven't seen him kick in over 2 weeks. Davis was with Ole Miss last season. So we'll see what Caden Davis brings to the table.
Your dead cap hit for Tyler Bass.
Oh, yeah, we're already going there.
No,
we're already going there. Bass hasn't even kicked yet this season, and we're already like, we can move off of him. What's the dead cap?
5.9. Keeping him on the roster is 4.6. I mean, it's not.
So you pay more to get rid of him
than actually
having him on.
Have it. That's why this is. I'm just bringing that up. Danger. I'm projecting tomorrow because if this kid from Ole Miss nails a 50-yarder, people are like, "Why? We can just bring that guy in. Why not?" Okay. There's actually like a business element to this that you'd actually have to clear extra cap space. Tyler Bass isn't going anywhere.
Right. Right. But I love that we all think the way we think. Like, hey, maybe this is the guy. What if this is the guy? What if he's better than Bass? Like, what have you done for me lately? Bass, for his inconsistencies over the course of the last, 24 months?
Oh, it started before that loss here to the Chiefs in the postseason.
Yeah.
It really did, but that kind of and then this time last year, he was not in a good headspace. And it's funny, the same question to Sean McDermott posed at the end of camp. Who stood out to you? This year he answered it. Oh, I really, just deferred, didn't mention anyone.
He said it wasn't a cop-out, which means it was. He gave an answer and he said, but that's not a cop-out. Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's absolutely a cop-out.
And look, that's totally fine. Last year, same deal. No. And then you could see the wheels turning like, I have an opportunity. But Tyler Bass I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I did not have that. I'm like, wow, he is pumping the tires of Tyler Bass.
That's right. And for all his warts, Bass with some clutch kicks, the 60-yarder, you said it earlier, 60-yarder against Miami saved his job last year.
It did. It wasn't a...
He was on the ropes.
Yeah, he was on the ropes. It wasn't, hey, we're going to lose the game. It was, okay, this is going to go to overtime or we win the game. And as it turned out, Miami had a chance at the end there to find a Hail Mary. But regardless, that's one thing you can look forward to. A new kicker tomorrow, maybe there is. I want to see Ray Davis just do it because what the heck? It's preseason. You're not having Josh Allen out there tomorrow.
All right, so can I amend that if the Bills bring out Ray Davis to kick an extra point, there will not be a handshake between McDermott and Daboll. Daboll will find offense to that and say, what are you turning this into a circus sideshow for? Forget it. Put your kicker out there. But instead you brought out ring. No.
Wait, like this is baseball or some unwritten rules of football? Don't bring in the emergency kicker?
You brought out a gimmick during week one of the preseason against my team just to disrespect us.
Daboll chasing down McDermott.
You remember, what was it? Was it Jim Harbaugh and
who's the Lions coach? It's going to come to Schwartz.
It was Schwartz.
Yeah.
Schwartz and Harbaugh, right?
Yeah.
I called that the Harbaugh handshake, where, by the way.
No, I know.
I'm not telling you to do this, but I mentioned the Harbaugh handshake to a friend, and he took the Harbaugh handshake and turned it into an entry on Urban Dictionary. This is years ago. I mean, how many years ago did this happen?
Are you credited on Urban Dictionary with that? And don't Google that on our computers here at Odyssey. Don't do it. I don't know. I don't want anybody tracing that because somebody might be like, what are you looking that up for? I don't need HR. Like, you still credited?
It's credited to Friends of Danger. I did not do this myself.
You're some politician.
No,
Danger.
Somebody. Now, I'm looking at the definition right now. By the way, I know I'm immature. I'm immature with my comedy and my humor. Not breaking any ground here or breaking any news. I act like a 12-year-old.
This is where I'm going to really win. We don't. If you want to look it up, just do it.
I'm not going to say it on the air.
Don't do it on your work
but
computer.
But seeing it on my computer now and reading it in my mind, I can't read it on the air. It makes me laugh because that's my sense of humor. It's ridiculous that I turned the Jim Harbaugh handshake with Jim Schwartz into filth on Urban Dictionary.
So I don't even know how you could turn that into filth, but what I remember about that was it was the handshake. Harbaugh wins the game, and he does like a back slap.
The
hey,
slapping
buddy.
on the back.
Slapping on the back. Hey, buddy. And Schwartz is like, what the F? What do you do? And he's going to chase him down.
He was upset about it. Yeah, he chased him down, and you had a very uncivil exchange between the two head coaches. Man, this goes back to 2011. This was submitted in 2011. We're talking 14 years ago. Things have changed in the world. 14 years ago, I could probably get away with this. Now, probably not.
I'm gonna submit two other coach exchanges that were really, really contentious. Okay, number one, Tom Coughlin and Greg Schiano. Greg Schiano is the head coach of the Buccaneers.
Oh,
it's
right.
kneel down time.
They're going after the quarterback.
And they're going after the quarterback. And Coughlin, pointer finger right in the face of Schiano, and Schiano had to stand there and take it. Like, that's Tom Coughlin. That's a Super Bowl winning coach, and that's nonsense what you did. The other one, it's our very own Sean McDermott. Let's remember that Rob Gronkowski lost his mind. It's a Patriots win. The Bills you could see things are coming, but the Bills have not yet arrived. But Tre'Davious White on the sideline, down on a play, and Gronk goes supervised snooker on him. And it earned Gronkowski a one-game suspension from the NFL. And McDermott goes up to Belichick, handshake, doesn't let go of the handshake and says, that was BS, that can't happen. And Belichick kind of nodded his head and kind of agreed with him. And it was a way that Belichick kind of deferred it.
I remember that play. Man, people were pissed off after that play.
Oh, it was dirty.
It was
dirty.
I remember how mad people were after that play. Yeah, it was. It was like a WWE move.
Yeah.
He just did a splash on Trey White while he was down. I know that there's more. I know that there's a lot more. These guys don't really like each other. They're all competitors.
Are you kidding me?
They're all alphas.
Yeah, they say all the right things. They have all the respect.
Yeah, very cordial in a public setting, but behind closed doors, they just despise each other. Like, even thinking about John Harbaugh, who we saw last night with the Ravens and the Colts. Do you think John Harbaugh has any sort of respect at all for Sean McDermott? None.
No.
Do you think he has any respect at all for Andy Reid? I don't think he has any respect for anybody. I think the Harbaugh brothers, they don't think about respecting their opponent. They're only focused on themselves and what they need. No respect. Who has it better than us?
How about McDermott and his former college team? I don't know if you knew this or not. At William & Mary, he played alongside Mike Tomlin.
What? I'd never heard that.
I don't get the sense that those two men are very close. You can't be.
No.
You can't be.
They'll say all the right things, but they're not talking about the times that they bonded in the dorms together at William & Mary. No, that's not happening. I'm sorry. I gotta get this off my screen.
Get off your screen.
How do you use it in a sentence?
No danger.
Okay.
No.
It's clean. It's FCC clean.
I don't care.
All right.
If people are interested, you told them how they can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, Urban Dictionary is
Harbaugh handshake.
It's just not really. It's not as accepted as maybe it was 15 years ago.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh does a vanity search? You know what a vanity search is?
Oh, where you look yourself up on Google?
Yeah, like he's looking himself. He comes across that.
The Harbaugh handshake. Whatever you do, don't look up Harbaugh handshake on Urban Dictionary. I had nothing to do with it. I mentioned it to a friend.
Wait a second. You invented it.
I mentioned it to a friend. I said that sounds like an Urban Dictionary move. Harbaugh handshake sounds like a move from Urban Dictionary. And my friend's like, well, what would it be? And then I came up with what it would be, and he proceeded to post it on Urban Dictionary. And I didn't ask him to do that. He just did it. He took my idea and he ran with it, and there it is. It's born, and it's in the Urban Dictionary. And we'll always remember the Harbaugh handshake with Jim Schwartz.
Jim Harbaugh is a weird dude, though. Can we agree on that?
Both of those guys.
Yeah.
Both of those guys. I mean, they're both present in such a way that you think, oh, these guys are so positive and so optimistic, and they attack life with such vigor. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's what they're showing you. But these guys are they feel like they can't turn, that they might be violent behind closed doors. That's kind of how I view them. Like, they might have short fuses with those that are closest to them, if that makes any sense. That's how I kind of view the Harbaugh brothers. They present themselves in such a perfect way, and their family and everything that.
I'm Steve Jobs. I wear khaki pants. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a loss for the Chargers, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jim Harbaugh, Rashawn Slater will be out for the year. Big piece of their offensive line, torn patellar tendon, suffered earlier this week. That's confirmed. And for John Harbaugh, the Ravens take the preseason seriously. Keaton Mitchell is back. Remember Keaton Mitchell, who, if you're a fantasy player, maybe had like a week or two where you saw him and you're like, ooh, he's good. He looked pretty good. He's returning from all sorts of knee injuries. Anthony Richardson, however, for the Colts, did not look good.
No.
And left the game early with a dislocated pinky. But the play that he dislocated his pinky on, we had Eric Turner from Cover One just join us last hour. He said that, look, that's elementary QB, NFL QB film work. You have to know what's coming your way. You have to know the defense that's being presented to you. That's day one stuff that he doesn't have a handle of yet. If you're Shane Steichen, you got to go into the season knowing this guy's going to get killed because he doesn't know what he's looking at.
Can we go back to the Chargers for just 1 second? There is one thing, particularly from a fantasy standpoint at running back.
Marion Hampton.
Yeah. What the heck is going on with Najee Harris? Superficial eye injury, and he's still not out there. And, all right, now is the question that's fair. Hey, if he's not out there now, can we see him week 1? And Harbaugh today, non-committal about it. Okay, so the next question would be, tell us more about the injury. Quote, I don't comment because I'm not a doctor. I'm not Mr. Harris's agent either. What I know about is, can he open his eye? Yeah, I've looked into his eye. I can tell you that. I'm not his agent. Yeah, the agent going putting out that BS.
Right. Superficial. Superficial eye injury. Omarion Hampton is going to get run into the ground this year by Jim Harbaugh. I'm excited for that.
250 carries? More.
I'm going over.
Over, yeah.
I'm going over. Yeah, I think so. Especially losing Slater. Easier for these guys to run block than pass block. And Najee Harris is a nice little, somebody that you can bring in to spell him if you need. But I think Omarion Hampton's going to have a nice season. He's going to get worked. He's going to get absolutely worked. It was a good night last night for Seahawks rookie quarterback Jalen Milroe. Led the team to a touchdown drive against the Raiders. 6 of 10, 61 yards, rushing 3 times for 38 yards.
I forgot that we don't do overtime in the preseason.
Nope.
23-23 the final.
Hey, everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Tonight, we get to see Shedeur Sanders.
Whew. And according to Mary Kay Cabot, it's not just a series or two, minimum 50 snaps.
Oh.
All right.
Good.
Which, look, that's smart. let the kid settle in. Let him kind of figure this out. Will we get the play that makes you say, there it is?
Knowing that the Browns are dysfunctional, do you think Kevin Stefanski wants Shedeur out there for 50 plays?
No,
I'm saying so he can show the GM that this guy is not NFL ready.
You're a step ahead of me on that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is him, yeah.
Like, Andrew Berry, this was your pick. I didn't want this guy, but you wanted this guy. We took this guy. He's been a distraction, not by choice. It's just the circus is going to follow him around.
I don't think it was an Andrew Berry selection.
You think it was a Jimmy Haslam selection?
Was it a Roger Goodell picking up the phone?
Oh, no.
I like, seriously, like the Browns have had like so many missteps.
Can the count let us know how many Browns quarterbacks are under contract at present time?
What Count Hesco?
4, 5, 6 quarterbacks under contract.
I'm Count Hesco, and then when you get home tonight, watch the weather on 13 FAM News.
What? 13 what?
FAM.
With a V?
WHAM. FAM. 5 quarterbacks.
6 under contract. 6 under contract.
Who is the 6th?
Yes. Oh, Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
forgot
the one
about
everybody
him.
forgets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's still under contract. So what is the old saying when you have 2 quarterbacks, you actually have none?
So
what do you say if you have 6 quarterbacks under contract like the Cleveland Browns?
You're an ass show.
You're the Browns.
Yeah.
You are the Browns. Yeah, there's a part of me that believes that we'll see a lot of Shedeur Sanders because Kevin Stefanski believes that Shedeur Sanders is going to fall on his face. And if he falls on his face, then it makes Andrew Berry look like he's incompetent or whoever made the call
Or this
to
is
draft
Andrew
him.
Berry saying, like, the owner's like, this is my guy. Okay. This
Right.
is your guy. Here we go.
Right. And right now it's Flacco at number 1 on the depth chart for the Browns. Going into the season, Joe Flacco is your starting quarterback for the Browns.
And,
How did they get? They had Baker freaking Mayfield, and they let him go. The Browns are
right.
baffling.
Right. And why? Browns open up against Cincinnati at home. Who's starting? It's going to be Flacco.
And by the way, 2 series for the Bengals offense, 2 touchdowns for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They all look. The offense looks great. The defense looks putrid. Eagles second teamers were running the ball all over the Bengals starters last night on defense. That defense is going to be terrible.
So what you're saying is Cincinnati's an offense you want a piece of in fantasy football.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yes.
They score a lot of points. They'll give a lot of points up. Fantastic.
Yep. They looked the part. We got to get to a round of shots next on the Fan.
Yeah, we've got an interesting matchup tonight in baseball. We'll get to those here. A little hockey note here. Got a couple notes out of the NBA. Some hot uniform talk on the NBA. And look, we've been talking about this all along because, like, wait a second, this copycat behavior of the WNBA, it's actually something coordinated danger, and it's. I'll get to this. This is next level. How do we make money for ourselves? By throwing things on the court? We'll explain.
I love that we've turned the throwing of dongs onto the WNBA court as serial content here in the sports bar. You would expect nothing less from us.
Well, they did it again last night.
Again.
We'll explain.
Oh my God! All right, we'll get to that and more next. Don't forget about last call. Before we close up shop here and send you off on the weekend, if you want to have the final word in the sports bar, 585-866-4FAN is the phone number, 866-4326.
Tyler Bass not available tomorrow. The Bills signing a kicker today. Caden Davis will handle the responsibilities tomorrow. He played last year at Ole Miss. Bills and Giants, 11 a.m. for the pregame, 1 o'clock the kickoff tomorrow here on The Fan Rochester. 3 games in the NFL tonight, including the Browns and Panthers. Shedeur Sanders is going to see roughly 50 snaps for Cleveland. Shedeur wants to make the most of this opportunity.
I think every rep I get in general is valuable. We definitely take things up a notch, I would say, with everything. So every rep, anytime I step on the field, I take it, like it could be my last, because you don't know.
Yankees host the Astros tonight, the Mets in Milwaukee. The Wings are in Norfolk. Sports brought to you by GetMyPerks.com. Today, get a certificate to Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub for half price. Log on to GetMyPerks.com. Gene Battaglia, The Fan Rochester.
Listen to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Fan Rochester.
Feel bad that I didn't do this sooner, Gene, but I'd like to wish you and everybody listening a happy Jeff Fisher Day.
Jeff Fisher Day.
August 8th.
Oh.
08. 08. 25. We're not going.
We're not going 8-8.
No. We're in a record-setting pace with our punt team.
We're on a record-setting pace with our punt team.
I like Brandon and Danny, what they've
I've been
done.
impressed with Brandon, and what he's done out of the backfield. And you got to deal with him in addition to Danny, and you got playmakers all around. So we have to play sound defense.
So the context on that one, the Rams are playing the Patriots. It's the Wednesday conference call. Game is on Sunday. You would think you would have cracked the book on it. He's referring to Brandon Bolden, who played 1 snap on offense, and Danny Woodhead, who was no longer on the Patriots. He was with the Chargers. I hadn't played with the Patriots for over a year.
Danny Woodhead. That's a great throwback for fantasy football.
Danny Woodhead.
Danny Woodhead was fantasy relevant, and what a great name. What just to pull that name out of nowhere, Danny Woodhead.
Danny Woodhead. He's a Hard Knocks hero too.
Yeah.
Originally the Jets, and they had to cut him, and then Danny Woodhead.
We're not here to finish the season 8-8. Happy Jeff Fisher Day, everybody.
Heads up, Yankee fans. Tonight's game is on Apple TV. Yankees sending Cam Schlitter to the mound against the Astros. Other things happening in baseball this weekend. The Sunday night game, Danger will have your Cubs against the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
That's also going to be the Saturday night game on Fox. Toronto is at Dodger Stadium tonight. How about this matchup? 2 old guys going head-to-head. Max Scherzer against Clayton Kershaw. Very rare you get 2 3,000 career strikeout pitchers going head-to-head. In fact, this is only the second time these 2 guys have started against one another.
No kidding.
Yeah, Scherzer was 24, and Clayton Kershaw was a rookie at 20.
Wow.
So it's been more than 6,000 days since they've gone head-to-head. Again, stay up for that one, Jays and Dodgers. Mets sending Kodai Senga to the mound tonight. They open a 3-game set in Milwaukee.
Do me a favor. Beat Milwaukee. I mean, just do me a favor. I don't ask for much from the Mets.
See, the Mets have fallen into this, we're playing the Guardians. Letdown. I fully
You think they're going to play up?
Yeah, they're going to play up to Milwaukee this weekend.
Good. I hope they play up to Milwaukee. I'm tired of hearing about how good the Brewers are.
I don't think they're that good.
That's exactly my point.
They have some – okay, they're pitching.
Yes.
Okay.
Quintana was great the other night. I was watching him like, God, he's good. He's good. But – everything going the Brewers' way, how good, the best record in the major, they've been this, then that, blah, blah. Just beat them. We know how this ends for the Brewers. They're out in the first round of the postseason. That's where it ends. So let's just everybody settle down.
Who does the honors this year? I will nominate San Diego.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hockey players are tough. We know this. Matthew Tkachuk suffered a torn abductor muscle and a sports hernia while playing for Team USA in the Four Nations. That was in February. He would miss the last 25 games of the regular season, gutted out the playoffs, but he did that still being hurt. The rest may not have fixed the injuries here, Danger, so they're determining right now if surgery is needed. He's going to miss the first 2 to 3 months of the regular season for the Panthers.
That's tough. I was really wondering when all of the nonsense and hard knocks for Florida were going to come to an end, but, this is another blow for this franchise. It just can't seem to catch a break.
We're all expecting a step back from the Boston Celtics this coming season. So the Celtics, what they did today, they're going to make sure that there's no fire the coach radio here, right? Joe Mazzulla signed a contract today, a multi-year extension. Why? Well, he's part Italian, but other than that, had 3 successful seasons in Boston, including a championship 2 years ago. Terms not disclosed, and Mazzulla is still only 37 years old.
Are we claiming him as Italian? I know his last.
His dad is. I looked it up. Dan Mazzulla is his dad, so he's a
yeah. Yeah, of course he's sticking around Boston for a while. Gino. Of course he got an extension. He's Joe Mazzulla. He got an extension because he's Italian.
You ever been to the North End?
What, Boston?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, come on. It's like,
come on.
That's
come on.
Some of the finest Italian on the East Coast.
No, come on. Hey, of course, Mazzulla's getting extended. Don't have to worry about that guy. They're winning the championship without Tatum. They got Mazzulla. He's Italian.
Hot uniform talk in the NBA.
Talk to me.
Philadelphia 76ers are bringing back the black retro uniform from the Allen Iverson era. The ones they wore the last time they made it to the NBA Finals, which was 25 seasons ago. That team in 2001 lost to the Lakers. It was a fun series from what I recall. AI was great in it. This year, the Sixers, odds 33-1 to win it all, which is 15th best in the league. That's right smack in the middle.
Unpopular opinion, I don't like those uniforms.
Ooh.
I didn't like those uniforms. I really didn't.
Probably they're viewed favorably in Philly, though.
I would imagine they are.
Yeah.
And, of course, Iverson was fantastic. I remember that series. I remember being in L.A. for a work convention or something during that series, and L.A. was going bananas, and they got one, right? Didn't they got one of the games in that series? And I think I was watching the game that Philly got over.
It's funny. I was in San Diego watching this.
Oh, no kidding.
And the executive producer wasn't feeling so well. So what do you do on there by yourself? I watched the game. That was the game AI won. He was just fantastic.
Yeah.
So I mark time with sports.
So I think a lot of us do.
Yeah. The story regarding the I'm not bringing this up for shock value. I think there's something a little more sinister here going on.
Wait, what? You're kidding me.
Yeah, if we were just taking this at face value, shame on us, okay? The story about this trend of a certain thing being thrown on WNBA courts, all of them have been lime green. Why is that? It's not an accident. This is a coordinated effort to boost a certain cryptocurrency. Yes, this is a strange story. As someone explains, meme coins should make you laugh. The whole mission of this is to focus on making an impact in crypto culture. The crypto meme is appropriately named Green Dildo Coin.
Oh, boy.
We are not financial advisors, Danger. Personally, I don't care about cryptocurrency, but at least now we have an explanation that they are doing this to boost the value of whatever this thing is. And now we have more copycats throwing these things onto the court. By the way, there was another one that made it on the court last night in Chicago.
How is it performing?
I don't even know.
Do we know? Explain. I mean, I'm fairly certain I've got some invested in crypto. I'm fairly certain I've got some of my portfolio, not crypto, Bitcoin.
Oh,
is that the same thing? Bitcoin, crypto, Bitcoin,
you
part of crypto?
Boy,
I really don't know.
Yeah.
But if it's a part of, if I'm invested in Bitcoin and Bitcoin is bigger, like and the green dildo coin is part of, a portfolio of Bitcoin, then I'd say keep throwing them because Daddy wants to retire, wants that 401k to get bolstered up.
The Minnesota head coach was just very vocal, just saying, stop
it
this.
Needs to stop.
Demeaning to women. What are we doing?
At this point, it needs to stop. And the first time it happened, because of the reaction of the announcers of the game, I kind of chuckled like Beavis and Butthead. I thought, okay, that's funny.
This happened in an NFL game with the Bills.
Right.
So same thing. But now they've arrested a couple people, and they put out the headshots of this 18-year-old that was arrested in Phoenix. And you look at this like, oh, my gosh, this is just some dumb kid. And this dumb
They arrested
kid,
Terrible Take Timmy? It's impossible. I saw him just yesterday at camp.
No, it wasn't terrible take, Timmy. Although this kid didn't have a lot of facial hair, I'll say that. But it's like, okay, like these, like what? How much did this kid get paid to throw this out there? He's not the brains behind this operation. Hey, we need to boost the value of this imaginary thing.
It can stop now. This story is. I don't. The worst thing would be somebody gets hurt, right? Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. It's not. It was. I thought it was funny the first time it happened. The second time, I'm like, okay, really? Is this really where we're going now? I actually thought when you were going to bring this story up that it would have been like an online sports book that put a prop bet of it. Will there or will there not be a lime green dildo thrown on the court in this game? Yes, no. Like, you can bet on anything in certain states with certain sports books. And so, much along the lines of what we've seen happen with the Cleveland Guardians pitching staff, that maybe there was somebody on the inside saying, yeah, this prop bet exists, and we're going to manipulate the prop bet by throwing it out there on the court, ensuring that anybody that did bet on that prop bet actually wins their bet.
Oh, my gosh. There are...
Is there a market?
Yeah, this is our AI overview, and a lot of this is offshore. There are wagers that'll be allowed whether a sex toy will be thrown onto the court during a WNBA game.
Aha.
In some cases, you can bet on the color. Like we're betting on the Gatorade.
Aha. It's out of control.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Will
that can be manipulated.
Will a sex toy be thrown onto the court? What color will the sex toy be? Where will the sex toy land? Will the color of the sex toy match the color of the Gatorade shower in the Super Bowl?
These are things you can bet on.
Yes. It's like, we're gonna
not in New York.
Parlay
not in New York State.
Not in New York State.
Bro. Hold on a second. Bro. Let me tell you about my dildo parlay. This thing is great. You are going to make so much money. Tell me on this one, bro. Tell me on this one.
I'm Brad Evans, the big noise here. Welcome to BetMGM tonight. Welcome here. And we love you in Rochester. Make sure you call our show here tonight. Oh, we're talking about prop bets in the WNBA. No.
Don't do the big noise like that. No.
That's how I talk. Brian Horvath.
Stop it. Stop. We like the big noise. We like Brad Evans.
No,
Stop.
I think it's a really good impression.
Follow my dong parlay. Tell me. I've got the inside scoop. It's going to happen. It's going to be lime green, and it's going to be the same color as the Gatorade. 3-leg parlay. Put it all together. Use my code at checkout.
Okay, this is a week in the sun. This is what it's done to our brain. I shouldn't be laughing this much.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have last call at 866-432-6585, 866-4FAN.
Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Gino, we should probably do, since it's Friday and it's after 5 o'clock here in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia, any Friday news dump that we may have missed? where we would normally find the headlines that nobody wants to hear at Friday at 5 o'clock?
I am stunned we're getting this now. Shams is reporting the Christmas Day schedule for the NBA. Shouldn't this be like a standalone, hey, talk about this, not, oh, here it is. I have a theory on this, but okay, if you're curious and I can't wrap my mind around Christmas, I'm sure you can't either. Cavs and Knicks, because the Knicks always start off. Spurs and Thunder. Rockets in L.A. because, well, we have to put LeBron on. Mavericks, Golden State, Minnesota, and Denver. That's your lineup on Christmas Day. Why would they? Oh, maybe because that pales in comparison to the NFL. Do you remember what the NFL is trying on Christmas Day? We have on Netflix at 1 o'clock. Cowboys, Commanders. 4:30. Lions and Vikings. Evening on Prime. Broncos at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is watching the NBA on Christmas Day.
It's adorable, but there's so many things wrong with what the NBA has done here. You're announcing it today, for one.
Yeah.
What? Like, the season's going to start here in a couple of months. Couldn't you have announced this sooner? Are you just reserved to the idea that everybody's going to watch the NFL moving forward?
It's almost like they don't want you to kind of
The
notice
NFL
this.
absolutely stepped on the neck of the NBA, and they don't want to give up Christmas. Now it's theirs, and they won't give it up. This is also very West Coast heavy to me when I look at these matchups.
Mm-hmm.
You've got two East Coast teams in Cleveland and the Knicks. No Boston. I mean,
No Boston.
when was the last time Boston wasn't playing on Christmas?
No, and you have a team that made the final in Indiana. Okay, no Halliburton. We're not even touching them.
What does
Yeah.
Indiana have to do to get on Christmas? What about? It's not a failure. You're not playing on Christmas Day. Is it a failure that you're not playing on Christmas Day, Giannis?
This is what the NBA is going to say, Danger. This is going to be the best year ever because we have as many as 15 teams that can win the championship. Which
I'm not
maybe
lying. That's not a bad take. I get that, and I like parity. And the East certainly feels wide open, but maybe that's why they only have two teams from the East playing on Christmas Day as their showcase day. Because you don't really know right now who in the East is going to rise up and be good. I don't know that anybody had Cleveland doing what they did last year in the East. So you take Cleveland and you take the Knicks and you say, all right, well, at least we know we have stars on those teams and we expect them to be good.
And everything else is a Western Conference team.
That's right. Everything else. KD and LeBron, Rockets, Lakers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. But when you lay it out like that, when you talk about the NFL schedule on Christmas Day,
we're putting the Cowboys right at 1 o'clock. In case you were going to miss the NFL, we're putting our national team, bam, right here.
On Netflix. Maybe
On
that's
Netflix.
the only advantage that the NBA has is this is on broadcast on ABC and ESPN, so easily accessible.
I'd have to pull it, but I'm pretty sure the NFL destroyed the NBA last year. And that you had the Chiefs and Steelers, right?
What gets a higher number? NFL preseason or NBA Christmas Day?
NFL preseason, let's say Sunday Night Football.
No, use the Hall of Fame game.
Oh.
We could use the Hall of Fame game from just last week. The Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and why am I blanking?
The Lions.
The Lions. I'm sorry. Jeez. So I knew that drew a pretty good number. I think that was the highest number.
6.9 million.
Nice number for the NFL Hall of Fame game.
Okay, so NBA. Okay, I think you can remember that.
I will remember the number for the Hall of Fame game between the Lions and Chargers. Yes, it was a nice number. What about for the NBA on Christmas? Highest rated game. And if you can't find it, it's because they don't want it shared.
So Lakers and Warriors in the evening topped out at 8.32 million. Okay. However, if you took all the average was at 5.25. So the average compared to one preseason game was lower.
The NFL is not competing with the NBA. The NFL is not competing with Major League Baseball or the NHL. The NFL is competing with soccer. The NFL is competing, as they say,
Hollywood.
They're competing.
No, Google.
They're competing with Google. They're competing with Apple. They are a global brand. They find this announcement by the NBA to be adorable. It's cute that you want to roll out your schedule at 5 o'clock Eastern on a Friday for Christmas Day. Here's what we're going to trot out. Good luck. Fun show this afternoon. If you missed any of it, our YouTube channel, where we stream live every afternoon from 3 until 6. You can go back and watch any part of the show you may have missed. Eric Turner from Cover One was fantastic. Get that wherever you get your pods, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. JR Sport Brief next. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday on The Fan.